And there we go. Welcome everybody to the SSJ Cast. I always gotta fuck with my co-host before we get started because that makes me look better.
Dog.
It makes me look better. Hey, how's it going? Welcome everybody though. We are a weekly show that tries our best to cover all the gaming, anime, and tech news that comes around to the world. And we always go beyond. That's still a fucking trash tagline. All right, welcome everybody to the fucking show. Hey, they don't have to know that.
You literally were like, "What?" You literally were asking us
because
like,
none of the rest of them are good. Like, think about the other Super Saiyan quotes and tell me.
We could have been an Alice podcast, but you decided to keep it SSJ. So
I'm just saying this to you as well, Shaz. Like, I could do like original Super Saiyan quote where we just start screaming at the start of the episode, all of us. Just that's the tagline.
It's 9 o'clock at night, and I'm pretty sure my neighbors would not appreciate that.
Yep,
so...
exactly. So welcome everybody to the podcast. We're here to hang out, chill, talk, and just hopefully provide a good time. I'm here with the boys Alejandro and Shazzyn, and we are getting into a lot of news. Gaming and anime are going to be a lot of the topics on today's show. But before we do that, we always got to check in with the boys. Shaz, how's it going? I see you got a new figure.
Next the Ultraman over there.
Yeah, what's that? Let them know who you are, what you do, what the figures are.
This figure is the Godzilla and Evangelion collaboration one. So that's pretty cool, I guess.
Okay.
Not that matters. I don't give a damn about what you think. No, I don't know. I'm just chilling today. You know, we might be getting a puppy.
That's cute.
No, I'm mad. About
Why?
it. I'm mad because I saved up money when I was in middle school to get a puppy. My parents were like, you know what? We didn't think you'd actually do it, so nah. And it's like, oh, so you just lied to me.
Nah, you got tech, dog. You got to learn.
Now, a decade later, now y'all want to get a fucking dog. Okay.
Wait, what kind of dog are you getting?
I don't know. We don't know yet. But my mom's
He's getting a Shiba Inu. Just calling it right now.
My mom wanted a sheep, but she's like, yo, they're fucking expensive.
They're really hard.
Oh yeah, they are.
They're really hard to raise. Those motherfuckers are assholes.
She wants one. She's had a Shih Tzu at her house when she was a kid, but also another one that's like, maybe you want something different. So I don't know. I'm like a corgi beagle man myself, but you know.
God.
Okay.
Well, because she wants a small dog, so.
Oh, she wants a small dog. All right.
Yeah.
Nah, you don't get big dogs anyway. You don't get like a fucking Doberman. That shit.
Okay, who the fuck is getting a Doberman? Okay?
Hey, dog, you said a big dog.
Shit's bigger than me.
Straight muscle, just standing like this tall, just looking at you. Like it look at you like yo food, and you want to say no, but like it put his paw up, and that shit just don't.
Strix, I'm not trying to get my ankles broke. Just trying to walk the damn thing.
Yo, dog, get yourself a Rottweiler. Get yourself a Rottweiler, dog.
Ain't no one trying to get a Greyhound or a Doberman, bro. No,
Rottweiler, Pitbull, they're all good. You know?
Yeah.
Pitbulls, you know, I want
Pitbulls are fine. Rottweilers are big.
Boxers are big softies in a lot of cases.
True.
I love boxers.
One of my friends had a boxer.
I love Pitbulls. They're so adorable.
Pitbulls are really cute too.
I have a story that's not so cute about a Pitbull, but we won't even worry about that.
Ooh. Now my neighbor, he had a Pitbull, and so there's like a fence in the backyard of my house, and the pitbull, the neighbor's pitbull just kept breaking like the bottom of the fence and going over to our
what do you do? What do you do in that situation? Like, you gonna fuck with the pitbull? Like, nah, you good, dog.
No. So it's like we would always call him over, and he would bring out the pitbull from our backyard. It was the nicest pitbull ever. It was legitimately like he would just. I think it was he. It was a he, and it was just like, I loved him. I loved the pitbull so much.
Okay.
Dude had to move away, sadly. So
yes,
never saw the pitbull again.
We might be getting a doggo. I don't know. Hopefully.
Okay. Here's the real question: will he show up in streams?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Probably because I'm the one that's around the most. So
okay.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Cool.
Probably, yeah.
That's a good tech.
I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's gonna be a puppy or we're gonna do like the tech, like 1 year old, so they got like potty train. You know what I mean, like the tech.
Look, chat. But... we got to get Shaz up with his. We got to get Shaz emote subs up so he can get a dog emote when he gets it. 100%. Nah, dog emotes automatically. Dog emotes do mad well. Like 100% people just fuck with it. Easy.
You're gonna have your like set of Betty emotes, like fucking.
100%. 100%. But today should be a pretty fun show. We got a lot of stuff to get into, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'm gonna go ahead
Damn,
and
just
start
gotta skip
off.
my intro like that.
Oh
I see how
wow,
it is.
wow. Look, I mean, sorry.
No, nice, nice.
I was so used.
Only I matter. Fuck you.
I
Yeah,
was.
not-
I
gotta
didn't
disrespect
intro.
Snapback and pencil.
I didn't intro
Man.
myself either, so don't feel bad. How are you
Man.
doing?
No, you were no,
How
no,
you
no.
doing?
You're right.
I
No,
see.
you're right.
Look, all right, fine. If you didn't see, Alejandro put out a dope drawing on Instagram and Twitter earlier today.
Wait.
As well as you can see a little bit of artwork. It looks like on the desk behind him. The young boy snapped back in pencil. How was your weekend? What have you been up to?
I mean, we already did the intro.
Young
We already-
TV,
we already-
Tampa
No.
Bay,
No.
Rays. Anyway.
What?
Raise.
Oh,
This man with the manta ray? Like when you pick out the manta rays as your team, nah.
Dude, shout out to Tampa Bay Rays.
The
I mean,
fact-
they're pretty good.
That pretty decent.
I'm not talking about baseball. Baseball
I
is
know.
boring as fuck to watch.
It is.
It is.
I ain't been interested in baseball since I played it. All right, but what's going on with you? What's going on, Alejandro? Let the people know.
It's your boy, Snapback and Pencil. You already know. We out here watching anime. Nothing much going on in my week, but I will say I watched the movie recently, and I really want to recommend it. I Want to Eat Your Pancreas.
Right.
Really recommend checking.
Fucking done with you, dog. Every time. I thought it was the other movie that you watched that you were recommending,
No.
and you
It's
come out
the-
with that shit. Like, what
That's
the
the-
fuck?
It's the actual anime one.
You couldn't say
Wait.
the
What was the
Japanese
other
title.
movie you were thinking of?
What was the other movie you mentioned? Like there was Black Klansman.
Black Klansman. Also recommend that movie. Shit was really good. But I want to recommend I Want to Eat Your Pancreas because first off, that name is wild as fuck.
Yes.
Japan.
Okay, no. So the reason they have that name is because in certain cultures when you have like an infection in a certain like body or organ body part or organ, you say I want to eat said body part. I want to eat your heart, and it would like as a way of saying I want to remove that that disease. And one of the main characters in the movie, it's not a spoiler. They literally say it in the beginning of the movie. One of the main characters has a pancreas infection. I think it's cancer or something like that. And so, like, the whole theme is like, oh, I want to eat your pancreas. I want to remove you so you can live a happy life. It's a romance movie, really well animated, and it's really good.
So, yep, the romance movie, I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. No other context needed. We didn't, nope, okay.
Also, Black Klansman, recommend that movie too.
Okay. Yep, okay.
We're not getting monetized on this video.
Dog, nah, 100%. We already we got to get to monetization first. Then they can demonetize everything.
The 3 sets we're about
Yo,
to
I just realized we don't have something in the doc.
Reggie
YouTube
Fils-Aimé?
messing up.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what did you?
I saw
I did, yeah. I know what you're talking
what I will say to you, Alejandro, is check. It's resolved now, but check Gigix Twitter.
Oh, I
resolved.
was seeing him tweet, but I didn't really look into that.
It is resolved now. But why we won't talk about YouTube because I think we have like the first 3 episodes we've been hating on YouTube. So we'll chill on that for today. But One Punch Man season 2 and just anime in general, we're gonna toss on over to our anime correspondent. No pencil in hand, but the man, the myth, the legend, with a pencil in hand, Alejandro. This is gross. Go ahead. What the fuck?
I didn't subscribe to this one. I didn't approve of this one.
Man.
I didn't approve of this one. I'm just saying.
All right, so before anything, I feel like it would be appropriate if we gave our respects to 2 very important manga artists who recently passed away. First off, rest in peace to Lupin the Third creator, Monkey Punch, who died at the age of 81 due to pneumonia. Rest in peace. And also rest in peace to the Lone Wolf and Cub creator, Kazuo Koike, who died at the age of 82. I think he was like hospitalized for a while and he was in bad health. So rest in peace to those people. Very, very influential people. Lupin the Third, very big title. Lone Wolf and Cub, not as big, but it's still a very like immortal manga. Like, and anyone who knows manga knows this franchise, knows this series. So yeah, rest in peace those 2 creators.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Condolences from all of us.
Mm-hmm. Rest in peace, and hopefully the family is doing well. Hopefully everyone else is, in their lives are doing well. But beyond that, the only really other anime thing that I really want to talk about was One Punch Man season 2. So we talked about this a few podcast episodes ago. We talked about how Strix, don't make that face, man. Strix, don't make that face, man.
I'm the worst, dog. I'm the worst.
So a few episodes ago, we were talking about how One Punch Man season 2, them shits was struggling. Really, really behind schedule. Storyboarding episodes a month before the show even started.
Trailer
Only
1
three
was a yikes.
Nice in Dragon Ball Super schedule.
Yep, worse. It's worse. The schedule is actually
How
worse.
do you get worse scheduling than Dragon Ball Super? That's what I.
So it's funny. It's funny because episode 5 of Super, even though it looked that bad, had more animation than episode 2 of One.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. That's not true. I don't believe.
Wait. Episode 5, like the one step up from stick figure, had more
animation.
Oh no.
Than the episode of One.
I don't believe you. I actually don't believe you.
So
because I don't want to believe you.
So like I remember reading on Twitter that episode 1 was nowhere near as bad as what people expected after the trailer.
Okay. So
now it sounds like all the not expected.
So okay. So let me put this out there. Episode 1 and 2. Remember what I said before. Only 3 episodes were finished, and we're seeing that. There were 3 episodes finished. After episode 3, this shit's gonna hit.
How many episodes is it for the season? 12, like
12.
last time?
12.
So when the 4th year episodes aren't even ready to go.
Nah, it's not even. It's
or ready to go. Sorry.
When episode 2, when one of the 3 prepared episodes
is garbage.
is oh Lord.
Strix,
no, I was trying to be hopeful.
Strix, when you get a C on a test that you actually studied for, bro.
No, it's the worst part is like you go into the class and you like yo, this is looking like this might be a struggle to pass. Yeah. And then test 1, you get a B and you're like, wait, hold up.
To give you an idea of how bad it is, normally an episode of anime has 1 or 2 episode directors. If it has 2, the episode directors are part A and part B, which is like the first half and the second half.
Scheduling as well.
Yeah. Okay. Episode 2 have 5 episode animation directors.
Wait. Hold on a minute. Wait.
So these are the people that are trying to salvage everything and make sure this episode comes out right.
Look. That's not a good look. You got too many cooks in the kitchen, bro.
You said 5?
5 episode directors.
How does that even work? Like, can you imagine that? Like, yo, that looks good. Like, number 3 is like, yeah, no, fuck that. Redo that. Try that again. No, we gotta clean that up.
So that's the thing. So if you have 2 episode directors, it's like, all right, you have the first half, the first 11 minutes, and they review everything. They review all the animation for that 11 minutes. And if you have this, and then you have the part. If you have 2 episode directors, you have the first half and the second half.
That would mean if we're just doing general math and we're ignoring the intro to the show, pretty much. Each one of them would be responsible for 4 minutes of the episode,
basically.
4 and some change. Nobody saw how that would be a problem.
The reason, if you're doing something like this, that means that you need like duct tape and fucking wrapping paper and whatever you can get to salvage this shit, because it is dying. It is dying, and we're only on the 2nd episode, dog. And here's the thing. Like we've said before, only 3 episodes have finished, and it's kind of obvious with what they've shown so far. What we've seen of those episodes so far, the biggest issue have been the animation is not as good as it used to be. There are certain scenes here and there that are like, all right, that's fine, that looks cool. But for the most part, really bad directing, really bad pacing, really bad animation, really bad. The only good thing is the humor.
So the writing is
yeah.
The
and if you want that, you can literally just read the manga.
And I do want to also address this. We had this conversation, and we all came to the conclusion that it was going to be worse. There was no way to avoid it being worse because of the talent that worked on season 1 versus the people they brought into season 2. But what this sounds like is, going back to the test analogy, is you shot for a C and you just got your name correct.
Yeah, pretty much. like Strix said, realistically speaking, there was no way they would top season 1 because the people working on that were like all over the place, and
they had no time.
They just did it because they wanted to, and it was awesome. But it's like, so everyone accepted the fact to be a downgrade, but people are like, okay, that's fair. We're not gonna get like the 110% out of 100 that we got last time. We can accept something lower. That's reasonable. But yeah, like Strix said, it's like you got like the all-star 95 team, and then you went to like the local YMCA to try to play
the dads. No, it's the dad. Yeah, the dads that are like, yo, I still got it. I played back in high school. I got this.
They got the socks up to their knees, bro.
The shortstop halfway down the thigh.
They got the icy hot on their elbows on deck. Just had to take 3 aspirin before they play. Like, bro, you couldn't. Something. Can we get somebody in the same league, please?
And I do want to go. Wait, what were you gonna say, sir?
I was gonna say they got the button fits on deck ready to.
No, but I do want to say this. Everyone who watches One Punch Man and whoever's gonna see this and all that, don't blame JC staff. Don't blame the director. The reason One Punch Man is in its current position right now is because of the production committee that put this on JC staff and its director, and just gave them absolutely no time to work on this. Don't say it's a JC staff thing, because JC staff can do work. They know how to make good anime. They have good staff over there. They know what they're doing. This is literally all the production committee saying, fuck it, why not?
Again, the people not working, like, the people in the boardroom.
Basically.
That ultimately to them, let's get another episode or season out of One Punch Man out because it's popular and it'll bring in revenue.
Even though those people said, hey, we'll animate it, just give us like 2-3 years to come back and have a schedule. And they're like, no, we need it now.
Basically.
So One Punch Man season 2 is looking up. Said nobody.
It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get
worse.
That's
the scary part is that you're saying this going into like the prepared episodes, right? That's what. That is
next week should be the last episode that was finished before the anime started.
So
how's the food that you cooked raw, bro? That's what I want to focus on. How the fuck is the shit that you actually prepared trash?
So we'll talk about.
God damn it,
dog! We'll talk about this again, Alejandro, and the next time we are able, we do talk about this. Episode 4 should be out.
Yes.
So we should have a sightline of like where this is going. And I'm so
that episode is gonna be fun. Episode 9 is gonna be fun.
I'm
SSJ episode 9.
I'm actually scared.
I can't believe we live in a universe. We haven't had a trailer for Dragon Ball Super yet for the new anime, but we might live in a universe where Dragon Ball Super, the second season, looks better than One Punch Man season 2. How?
Nah, hold up. Nah, with the way Alejandro described it, you could probably go down any charts list and knock off like 80% looking better than One Punch Man, because there was nothing positive for me to be like, yo, like that sounds positive.
Spider Riders might be better than season 2 of One Punch Man.
Spider Riders is better than season 2 of One Punch Man.
Spider Riders might be fucking Spider Riders, bro.
On the opposite side of the spectrum, I highly recommend checking out Demon Slayer, the best animated show of this season with the highest amount of production. Really good animation. Gonna be 26 episodes, and they're ahead of schedule by far. So yeah, just to give the spectrum of good and bad.
It's
Can we say rest in peace One Punch Man too? Is that a thing we could do?
Since I don't want to get copyrighted.
Oh, the tech? Is that the tech? Spider Riders.
Apparently this looks better. That's really scary to me, dog. That's so scary.
Let's go!
On so many levels. All right, we might actually get copyrighted.
This actually looks better.
Hold on, let's get to the part with the actual Spider Riders.
This has more animation.
Yikes.
Let's get to the actual part with Spider.
Yikes!
This has more animation.
Bro, I'm weak.
How?
Bro, it's like watching Tokido be like the godlike Akuma in Street Fighter 5 and then see him play SoCal and he just like jumps off the edge. Like none of that experience.
There's so many.
Like,
The
I
idea
don't
is
even know, bro. Like, oh my god.
they say you dropped the ball. They didn't show up to the game. Like it's so
Yeah.
it's so bad. We'll check back in 2 weeks.
I feel so
Oh
so bad because it's like aside from not having nearly as talented artists, because there's tiers obviously, but it's like they just didn't have the fucking time. Y'all, literally, it's like, hey yo, Strix, we need you to get ripped for this role. Okay, how many months I got? Oh, you got 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, and then immediately, like, and all they do, Shaz, is they just go out and buy one of those kids' costume with the abs and just tape it real tight, and it's like, okay, I got this.
They gave you the muscle fit.
Yup. And it's like, and like, so this scene was supposed to be shirtless, but you know, just
2 weeks.
Just
2 weeks.
Whose man's? Dog.
I can't even get my fingers fat in that time. Like, god damn it, bro. I really do feel bad because people think, oh, JC Staff. It's not like JC Staff is necessarily a premier animation studio, but honestly, they've made good anime. But it's just they really just had no amount of time, and it's a real shame, bro.
We're gonna look. Everybody, pour one out for One Punch Man season 2. It might look. Look, if you are a religious person, commune with whoever you commune with, because that's the only way this shit's gonna get good.
I'm waiting for all of this to be an April Fool's prank.
That would be that would actually be amazing. If they were like episode 4 was them being like, hold on, let's try this again. This kind of is trash, and they just redid it with amazing ass. That would be amazing. But we don't live in that world.
We're gonna need a brotherhood treatment for season 2, and it's only a 12-episode show, dog. Like
You know how we were thinking that the first couple of episodes were just gonna be them like a clip show of the first season, that recap, and that's what we thought we were gonna get away with.
They should have done that.
You know it's bad
I'm just gonna pour one out real quick.
You know it's bad when Yusuke Murata, the guy who does the art.
You have something in your lap. I know he has something in his lap. Ain't no way he just poured down the floor.
I was about to say, look, you know Yusuke Murata.
Yeah, caught.
Hey, what?
Caught.
What was that?
Caught.
You really tried it just now. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that?
Dog, because like I wanted him to so badly be like just stand up and you just hear the water hitting the floor as he walks away. That would have been.
What are you doing?
To anybody out there, we are the most professional
podcast
podcast on the internet. So that unfortunately, that's all the anime news for the week. I'm mad because like I didn't see him put it in his lap, but I saw him pull it out of his lap. So how'd you manage that?
He really tried to do the broke magician tech, bro. He was like, "Ha!"
like huh. We're good. Okay. So let's start getting into some gaming news.
Fuck me.
We're gonna get into some of the gaming news now. While we calm down, we'll just talk about some games and some trailers coming out. First up is we have Octopath Traveler coming to PC on June 7th.
Yep.
I felt like we talked about this, but maybe we haven't.
We didn't. We literally didn't. This literally came out this week, so
I feel like there was like rumor then maybe. Maybe. It's coming to PC. Octopath, I've heard a lot of good things about it. Just being like an amazing callback to like old school art JRPGs.
Yes.
Mhm.
From what I understand and what I've seen, it's not like it does anything to like advance it necessarily. It's just like the pure like distilled everything of a JRPG into a game. It's like all the best parts of a JRPG, kind of. So it's like, oh, okay.
It looks beautiful. Like, it
The
looks
effects are
really good.
amazing, by the way. But like those effects are gorgeous.
It looks really good.
Does anyone remember if they have multiple audio tracks for this game? If there's like an English and Japanese version?
I think so.
I believe so.
Because I remember seeing clips of the English dub.
I
And
believe so,
I
yes.
was not fucking with it.
I believe so.
No, it looks cool. Hopefully it does well when it releases. It's coming out June 7th this year. So for anyone who is interested in this game and who doesn't have a Switch and wants to actually check it out, I recommend it. So
it was one of those games that people really said was worth like it was really like top tier Switch.
Yeah.
It's sold a lot.
Yeah.
It was great.
Man, my stomach hurts.
It's, the next thing we got going on the list is another game that we briefly talked about last week amongst all the Star Wars celebration. Star Wars Fallen Order. We might have forgotten to talk about it, but the game coming out of Respawn that we got teased at E3 last year by EA.
I think literally the most we talked about it last week was we said, "Oh yeah, there's a new game coming out too." Done.
Yeah.
I think that's all we said.
Yeah. So it looks pretty fucking good.
Yep. Oh, now you're changing it. Now you're fixing it.
No, I'm not fixing it. Shut up. You're drawing attention to
The illusion.
Illusion. You mean like the trash bag I had on my lap while I was pouring the water? Illusion.
That was a trash bag, dog.
Trash bag.
He's going to forget and dump that on the floor, guaranteed.
What are you doing with a trash bag?
In your lap.
No, like my trash.
Yeah, trash
My
can.
actual
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have fun taking that out. I hope something pokes a hole in the bag.
All I throw away is paper.
I hope flies make a fire nest in
But talking about Star Wars Fallen Order, this is going to be a single player game where you are playing, I believe, a Jedi after the execution of Order 66, and you're trying to survive.
Made by Respawn Entertainment.
Yes.
Which a lot of people, I guess, had some worry about.
People
If
know
you
for
played the
games.
Titanfall 2 single player, though, I don't think there's a reason to be worried.
No, the reason people were worried is because EA's name was attached to this.
But we knew that was going to happen because
I know.
EA has the rights. Like people.
So, is it 2019?
Yes.
Is that... Okay. So
I believe
like
it's coming out this year.
the big thing, everyone was like, "Oh, EA. This is the EA game." They're saying no loot boxes, no DLC.
All right,
Oh,
here's
none
the
of that
thing.
shit, but it's like-
All right, I want to briefly touch on that. That is not fucking news, devs. Do not use
Yeah.
it as news. Do not come out here and tell me you don't have microtransactions and loot boxes in your game. That means fucking nothing. I don't care if you do. I would rather you show me some gameplay.
Hold
Yeah.
on. Also, like Jim Sterling said, people who make problem fixes it, not wants applause. It's like
Yeah.
you're literally the company. The reason why people are like, no loot boxes, no gacha, no.
No, but I'm excited. It is made by Respawn. I have high faith in the company. They know how to make good games. so.
November 15th.
Nice.
So it's
Week
gonna
after my birthday. Awesome.
It'll be a nice end of the year release.
And 1 month before the movie comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So
Damn, I just thought about they did that purpose. All right, EA.
What'd you expect?
Oh, God.
EA releases their big games in that season, dog. It's either October or November that we're gonna see the big EA release.
Well then October we already know what's gonna happen. October we're getting Battlefield DLC.
Probably.
Dog. Oh God.
Probably gonna be DLC for the new mode.
I just don't. What, you mean they're finally gonna release? Let me stop.
Firestorm that came out.
Yes, I know. They need a reason to get people re-interested in the game because it took them 6 months to release. They waited for battle royales to not be the most important thing ever. Like,
Meanwhile, I love how they released it around Apex Legends.
yeah,
Like around
the Apex Legends was like meant to be their kind of like, okay, we're working on it, and it turned out to be like, hey, here's their thing, here's their hope, their dreams. I really look like a Sith Lord right now, but keep going.
I think the big thing that I love about Apex Legends is like EA, you know damn well EA purposely tried to fuck over Titanfall 2 when that came
No,
out.
I don't think so.
Okay, they didn't. Okay,
I think I think that they just thought like
mm-hmm.
we need something to put out. And what happened is the same thing I've personally been saying since Titanfall 1.
Mm-hmm.
Respawn does not make bad games.
They don't.
It's just they get no help from EA.
Yep.
They get no real support. And so even EA did not believe after it's like, hey, like Titanfall 2 is fucking amazing. Everybody fucking loves it. Please do something with this. That them coming about with like, hey, we're going to do Battle Royale. We're going to do it right.
And
We're
they
going to do it with our own
really well,
spin.
by
And the
the way.
funny thing is, it was leaked like a year ahead of time. But nobody gave it any thought. And then it really dropped. And it managed to knock Fortnite off for a month.
Yeah.
I'm still mad, bro. We got an American-made mecha goddamn game with an amazing single player and amazing movement, and it just
An amazing game all around. Gunplay, everything.
It's so good.
Respawn knows how to make games. Except the only reason people know about Respawn is because of fucking Apex Legends.
Well,
People know about Respawn first
because they
Call
were
of Duty.
they were the original, and that's where what frustrates me the most is like these are dudes that have proven now multiple times that when they put their mind to it, they make a fucking dope product.
Mm-hmm.
And yet EA keeps being like, let's have them playing second fiddle every single time.
Clearly they know what to do with first person or even third person shooters, but they're like, okay, we want to take that up for story or like some type of impact.
Titanfall
some type of
2
movement,
story
like,
was
so
fucking
good.
amazing.
Movement, one of the best movements in video
Yep.
games, one of the best stories, single player things I've ever played.
One of the best
weight
use of mechs in the game.
Dude, as a mech connoisseur, that game was like my wet dream.
They
honestly.
gave you the
That game was
slow,
so good.
tanky one. They gave you the melee fast one. They gave you the in-between ones. They gave you
Amazingly
giant
optimized
flamethrower.
too. That
Oh,
game ran
yeah,
buttery smooth.
It was.
Optimized to hell.
I
No
will
reason.
I will continuously praise them because this is coming after they released a game that most people like to joke about and like to like, hey, like how Titanfall 1 it died after a week. Hey, Titanfall 1 it has bots in it. Hey, and like all these small things that people didn't give credit for led to an amazing fucking experience.
Respawn literally said run it back. Bet. Okay,
And then they released Titan. And I always said this: Titanfall 2 came out the week before Call of Duty and 2 weeks before the Battlefield that year. And my entire point was they sent that game to die, and the only people that cared about it were people like me that prefer sci-fi to like old school shooters and like Battlefield 1. And if you like Titanfall 1, and that game lasted a week, that
Literally, the biggest issue with Titanfall 2 was there was no players. Beyond that, it was a damn near.
Yeah, but I don't
game.
blame people. People who are like super deep into shooters had to spend $120 on Battlefield and Call of Duty within a span of 2 weeks.
yeah, no, 100. Like when I still
I don't
remember
blame
that,
them for
I
that.
remember that conversation. Whereas I was telling people like, oh, which one are you getting, Call of Duty or Battlefield? Neither. Why? Like, aren't you gonna pick one? I'm like, I'm getting Titanfall the week before. Maybe if I wasn't getting one of them, sure, but like. It was 3 shooters, and one of them had to die, and of course it's the non-established one. And then with Apex Legends, this time the guys were like, "Hey, EA, we don't expect you to help us." Like there were interviews when it blew up where they were like, "Yeah, EA didn't really have any real influence on the studio. We just kind of they wanted us to make some shit, and we made it." And they have already said that this is not the only thing they're releasing this year. Obviously, we have like we started off with Star Wars, but there's also still talk of Titanfall stuff possibly, which I would love to see another Titanfall game.
Please,
I want to see a Titanfall game in a market where it just has room to just thrive.
Real talk, can I be 100% real with you? I feel like this is almost like the Christopher Nolan thing where they're like, EA is like, okay, you make one good Star Wars game because we've been shitting them out and they're terrible. You do this and we might think about bringing back Titanfall or letting you do whatever you want. This is like, and I know that fucking sucks.
Because
it shouldn't be
the
that way.
shittiest thing about that is literally like all that we need is like, hey, advertise fucking Titanfall. If you targeted people that love mecha, love sci-fi, love fucking
Right here, I got
Like, fucking love good fucking shooters.
I'm right.
Put
here.
your advertising dollars there because
Give me.
everybody that game came out and everybody had to commend the game on gunplay. Had to commend how that game
Movement.
functionally played.
The
And
zip
all
line.
EA needed to do was not put it out next to Battlefield. To put a little bit of like energy into separating that game, and it would have. I bet money right now we would still be sitting in a situation because they still released hella DLC for the game.
They did.
It's just Battlefield. Was that Star Wars Battlefront 2 year?
No, that was 2016 was Titanfall. Battlefront was.
Was that Hardline or was that?
2017?
No, Hardline was a March release.
No, that was Battlefield 1. Was
Battlefield 1
Was
was
it
that year.
Battlefield 1?
Yeah.
Battlefield 1.
Titanfall 2 was 2016.
2016. I think it was Battlefield 1 and what was it? Infinite Warfare?
I can look it up.
It was Infinite Warfare.
It was such a stupid week to me. Like it was such because I very rarely get super behind games to be like, yo, no, this game deserves this blah 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 blah.
I'm not even a big
and
shooter
Titanfall
guy
2
anymore.
was one of that. Like
literally, Shaz, at that point, literally people who weren't fans of shooters got into that game.
I'm not saying I'm not fans of shooters. It's just I just stopped playing a lot of them because that was the thing, like middle school and high school, which is fine. I enjoy them if they're good, but it's just like it was like the perfect like everything I've thought about in like mecha shows or whatever when the people get out there, the mech and they like fight on foot and it's like great movement and it's like it makes so much sense why they'd be that strong or like just everything made sense to me. And I hate saying like, oh, if EA's like, if you make this Star Wars game, we'll let you do Titanfall 3. It's because we know that Apex is doing well or something else in the future. When Titanfall 1 was a pretty good game by itself, and then they even made it better with Titanfall 2, which is the ideal movement of like, oh, we learned this lesson, let's just build on it. You already had a great game, and now you're telling someone who already made a masterpiece to be like, if you make a good game for us, maybe we'll think about letting you make another game. It's like I already proved myself making a great game. That's not fair, dog.
Yeah. And I want to clarify the timeline. The correction is Battlefield 1 came out the week before it. Call of Duty came out the came out the week after it, and that wasn't just Infinite Warfare. That was also when modern Call of Duty 4 got remastered. So there was no way in the fucking world that game was surviving.
So literally,
it was literally in between.
Anybody that grew up on first-person shooters would rather, rightfully so, get a Call of Duty 4 remake. Like, no shit. Yeah. I grew up on this. Why wouldn't I buy this?
And that's. I want them to. I hope the game is successful. I hope the game is successful. We've been kind of Star Wars Fallen Order. The cinematic looks really good. If you have not, we played.
I hope we see gameplay soon.
Yes, it looks really good. I think we'll see it at E3. I think it'll be one of their bigger E3 titles.
I can see that,
especially with the reception it got.
I think this game's gonna do well, just solely on the fact that now people know Respawn's name because of Apex Legends, but also the fact that this is Star Wars.
Yeah. Also, EA's kind of panicking because I think they only have 3 or 4 more years for the license because it's a 10-year deal. So
okay,
well that's good.
now they're like,
that's good. Yeah.
So for the first like 5-6 years, they were like, we already have it in the.
We have Battlefront 1. We have Battlefront 2. Visceral is never gonna actually release their bounty hunting game.
No.
Like, but wait, we're coming up on the end. All right, cool. Let's shit out a bunch of movies and games and.
It's like them actually starting to care now because now they have to worry about getting the rights back. Because for the first 5 years, they're like, we already have it. So there's nothing that in the contract that I'm sure there's something that's stupid that's like, if we use it without the permission of LucasArts or whatever or Disney, then we get our license taken away. But clearly, bad games was not in the contract. Yeah. So now they're like kind of starting to panic. Like
that was the whole thing with Battlefront. Like there was wonder if they would lose it off of Battlefront.
No,
but
they didn't care.
Going and using this energy of like a dev that has no fucking clue what they're doing in the world to a dev that is making all the right fucking moves right now. All the right fucking moves. We got to talk about a new character and patch update that came out for Smash.
Well,
yesterday, 2 days ago.
Real quick, you said a dev that has no idea what the developer
publisher.
is. Respawn, the publisher.
Whatever. Look, you know what I meant. Don't
Hey
correct
man,
me.
if I don't correct you, someone else will.
I don't give a fuck. Let them correct me. They're fucking.
Hey man.
But Joker came out for Smash. He
Yep.
finally got a release date. Once again, Nintendo knows how to break the fucking internet and their own servers because they announced him literally a day before he released. Nintendo, please stop this. Please. Like,
Not
they
even-
said April. I'm pretty sure
Yep.
they said April at one point. But next time, you know.
And the best part is they released it, and around the time they released it, someone in Nintendo decided, let's just do a maintenance.
Yeah. Dumb. It wasn't that the servers got overloaded. Even though that would have happened. It's just someone was like, no,
What?
we should probably do scheduled. Nobody. How did you not know, Joker?
I'm just saying, like, that's.
I mean,
most companies know to move maintenance up a day.
Right.
Like, shoot, have maintenance when the direct or whenever you're revealing this happens so that you're forcing everybody that cares about the game.
Yeah.
Like, you could literally have it where it's like, hey, you might want to be watching
It
Nintendo
wasn't
during
even
this
a
maintenance.
direct. They literally, I was up until like 10 p.m. that night. They just dropped the trailer. It wasn't even a direct. They were like,
I was.
We should
literally
probably
scrolling on
announce this.
Twitter.
It's tomorrow.
Yeah.
God.
I was literally scrolling on Twitter, and it was just, oh, Joker's out.
I was asleep, woke up, sat down at my computer, and my brother was like, oh, did you hear? I was like, hear fucking what? Oh, yeah, Joker comes out tomorrow.
just
What?
casually.
What?
It's
What? He's like, yeah, and not just Joker. And that's the thing. Like, it's one thing if you're just kind of surprise dropping a character.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is my brother's currently not at home because Pound is this weekend.
Yes, it is.
what that?
It's a Smash tournament.
Very
They
big.
released a title update 3, which I think people are saying doesn't end up being a whole lot of like mechanical changes.
There's some stuff in there. They made projectiles universally weaker. There's some things in there a little bit.
But the
it's
idea-
but yeah.
But to me, like those two things dropping 2 days before a pretty big tournament, and Nintendo's going to take the whole fucking.
Well,
video.
Nintendo's not conscious of tournaments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't care.
Well, for
They don't
Smash
care.
Ultimate, they've been pretty.
They're trying.
Well,
which,
except
again,
for their
if-
own tournaments.
Even though
Let's-
it's super late, people are like, you know what? It's better than never. They're trying. And it's like, okay,
Mhm.
all right. Honestly, the one they're probably just worried about is Evo. If I'm being completely honest, that's
Yeah.
probably the only one they're worried about. Every other, like, even though Pound's big, but it's like, I think there has to be a limit of like, well, they released it before my local tomorrow. It's like they don't local. Like, get out of here, dude.
Now, and I believe they did also clarify during the patch, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we are getting 4 more characters before the
more
end of the year.
characters.
Before the end of the year.
I mean, that was already known. We
Yeah,
knew it
they-
was going to
they
be a
talked about
5-character DLC. Yeah.
Was it before that?
Yeah, I'm
I think so.
pretty sure it says before the end of 2019 in the video. I think I was watching Max's video
Wait, before
and
the
I heard.
end?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Or were they saying the second one's gonna be out before the end of 2019?
See, that's the hard. You don't necessarily know with Nintendo's wording.
Mm-hmm.
We heard about Joker at the Game Awards, which
Yeah.
was back in October, so it's been 6 months.
Yeah, which is about a month or two later. than
October.
YouTube. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
been a long
or
time. It's a
December,
long
December,
time.
November.
December. It's been
a
4 months.
long
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
But it's like a month or two later than Mewtwo. But I think people are like, they're probably gonna drop like 2 characters at Evo, or at Evo E3, and it's like, and Evo too, because that's right there too. So we have a potential to get 3 characters, or 2 to 3 characters within a span of 2 months in the summer. Like, that's
I know.
crazy.
To me, thinking about it, they might be saying character 2 is coming by the end of the year. I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
But from speculation and things I've seen on Twitter, he seems pretty good.
No, he's pretty good. No, he's pretty fucking good. He's pretty.
He
good.
beyond the fact, like most notable thing I could say to people that when he has his persona out,
Persona. His
he
speed-
has an invincible recovery.
Yeah,
Yep.
he does. And
As-
it's like one of the biggest in the game.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
It's like y'all thought Pit's recovery was like you guys got annoyed at me with Pit. Imagine if you couldn't hit me out of it.
he has damage over time.
Yep.
He
He
has-
doesn't kill easy in normal mode, but when he takes out his persona, you're dead.
It's busted, yeah.
Yep.
But I think that's gonna end up being one of those things where,
It only lasts
like
15
the
seconds,
best,
by the,
the
way.
best person on him
Mhm.
coming from. Look, I'm gonna be real. As a Cloud player, 15 seconds is a long ass time.
Yeah.
Like because I know how much time I got to run around with that goddamn limit charge.
There
That's
already
a
been
lot
videos
longer.
with like people analyzing and showing some crazy ass combos.
Is it 50 seconds? I thought it was 30 seconds.
15. Yeah.
Okay.
But even still, I'm making the point. And this is the persona you can see on screen now.
I mean, it could be 30 seconds. I don't know. My friend was the one playing the character. He
But
said around 15. So
I mean, I think 15.
if it was 30, that'd be
If
a
I'm
little
being
more
completely
ridiculous.
honest, as long as moves don't eat away at the gauge, I think 15 is fine.
Well, I think it's 30 because people said you can't charge it unlike Cloud. So
Well,
it only,
beyond getting like
yeah,
you
it
have
only
to
gets,
take damage.
yeah, it only gets charged passively, and then if you
I
take
mean,
damage,
I could Google it.
or the counter as well. If you use the counter, it goes up higher. But that makes sense because Cloud is like, oh, anytime I have free time, I just charge it. 15 seconds, like that. That makes sense.
30, yeah, 30 would seems a little bit more.
But it could be 15, but I feel like that's way too short for the amount of damage you have to take to get it. But maybe that's just gameplay wise.
Yeah.
But anyway, point being, Smash is amazing. His final Smash is of course is all out attack. If you win with it, it's the literal end screen of Persona. If you win with Joker, it's his running animation when after a victory screen.
It's
in
really
Persona.
dope.
He also has it when Morgana turns into a bust and just it's like. It's
Also,
godlike.
Persona 3 and 4, stage colors and music and shit.
Has one of my favorite tracks of all time, Master.
Oh yes, and yeah, it's the stage is just as dope as the characters. It's
not. By the way, it's not just the colors that change. It's the actual like on the platforms different effects for like the not orbs but like the records and stuff.
Yeah.
They change completely. And on the TV, like different stuff plays, and it's like
Nintendo, like I said, has done this.
Didn't need to do that. Was completely unnecessary. Did not have to change the entire stage just for the music. Completely.
And for everyone saying why there's a PlayStation character in Smash, everyone please remember the Persona of Q2 is a thing.
Well, I'm ignoring that because most people don't, because like we got the Bayonettas, we got the Clouds, like there's
because everyone's speculating like, all right, so they're not gonna do only Nintendo characters, but it's like he's technically a Nintendo character now.
But I think with Snake and all these other characters, like Nintendo has long since proven that like it is more on the people to give them the rights than it is for them it is from Sakurai really saying like nobody.
I'll say it's not an argument as to whether the character's Nintendo or not. It doesn't matter if it's third party or first party because it doesn't matter. It's just if the character is like an icon or something that people like, can we get this character? He's like, you know what, this game is really good. Persona is like a legendary series. We haven't represented it yet, so let's just do it.
I do want to highlight one thing.
What's up?
Because I'm as a Kingdom Hearts fan. Somebody on the Kingdom Hearts Reddit literally brought up how Sora could have the best intro ever in Smash. And they have the Persona music going, having Joker jump around, and then you hear Sora's voice come in saying, "Oh, you're the person that's been stealing hearts."
Yo.
And then it cuts to the Kingdom Hearts shit. And I was like, dog, let me fucking have. I actually would.
That's good.
I would actually fucking. I was like, oh,
no, that's
that
good.
might be cream.
That's good.
That might be kinda
Yup. I was like, yo, Nintendo hire.
No, they need to hire that person because you know damn well Nintendo's not gonna do that.
I'm being like, if we get major Kingdom Hearts DLC, I would not be surprised if Nintendo, because it's on pretty much everything else. Why not put it on Switch? If you can get away with like a solid frame rate,
doesn't even have to be on Switch because Snake came out on Brawl and that was for like Metal Gear Solid like 4, and it's like that was only on like PlayStation and Xbox. Like we couldn't run that. Like,
oh my god.
I'm pretty sure. And it's like, again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the person's on the console or not. It makes it easier for them to. I think that's part of the deal. They're like, okay, we got Persona Q, so can we get like Joker too? You know, I think that's kind of how it works, but it doesn't matter because it's like people are like, we can kind of pretty much get like Master Chief on Smash, and I'm like, that's probably real, being 100% honest. But yes, that intro for Sora would be godlike, and I'm not gonna lie, if during his final Smash attack, if you're fighting against Sora, it would be just a small thing if in the background he would turn into his Heartless form, this tiny form after he steals. Like that would be so good.
And I do want to clarify right now because y'all can't see it because it's below our pictures.
So why would you
we are working the rest of the fight. We are working on the rest of the fighters planned for release through 2020. So the other 4 February 2020. So the next 4 fighters will be released in the next. It's April now, so the next 10 months.
Yeah.
Which is about a fighter every 2.5 months. Coming does, which to me says we're going 2.5 months. Is there another Nintendo Direct, Shaz? I assume that is there another Nintendo Direct
for E3? There will be, pretty sure.
So E3 would be the next announcement.
2 months, which is actually it's almost like only a month away. It's almost
so maybe we get maybe we get an announcement. Oh, I mean, I think we're gonna get the character there.
That's what I'm saying. We're gonna get it there, and then we're gonna get one for Evo. There's no way they're not gonna at least reveal
Evo.
another one for Evo.
It does have a Sunday day, right? Ultimate does have Sunday.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
100%.
Of course, it's the most registered game right now.
Look, Mr. Wizard wouldn't disrespect them on two fronts.
Look, we also got. I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see.
Wait. Okay.
All
wait,
games
wait,
on the
wait,
Sunday
wait.
spot deserve the Sunday spot. That's all I'm gonna
Quick
say.
question: was Digimon an anime first or video game?
Digimon.
That's a good question.
I believe first. It might actually be a game.
It might be a game because it might be writing.
Because imagine Agumon.
Ooh, hold on a second. Tell him I can play as War Greymon in this game.
Yo, his special was War Greymon.
It makes sense. So Digimon came out in June '97 as a response to Tamagotchi. So it was one of those.
Game.
It was one of those little digital virtual pets. I'm
gonna have Black War Greymon as a color palette in
Akiyoshi Hongo.
Yeah, because Tamagotchi. Yeah, that's why. That's why the Digivices, the original Digivices, look like eggs. That's why, because they were straight.
Yo, are we about to have Agumon?
At this point, I'm not.
Digimon as a game is a Tamagotchi ripoff, as an anime is a Pokemon ripoff. So, shouts to Digimon. I love Digimon, by the way.
Yeah, just to clarify, because I know people are gonna ask.
Yeah.
The first Digimon season of Digimon came out in '99. The first game, I believe, was released decently later. It was on the PS1.
Can I just have the
Digimon World was 90. So Digimon World would have released in '99, so it would have been around the same time as the show.
Strix, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want this Digimon character to work like Pokemon Trainer, except the person in the background is the Digimon World character as an adult. Dog, I'm just saying.
I'm like, at this point, I just like, with how well they've handled Joker, I want to see who they choose to bring in, because I think whoever they bring in is going to be
much fan service.
It's gonna be a treat. It's just 100% going to be a treat.
I think people need to not temper the expectations, but it's like Joker is somebody that like everybody knows and everybody cares about on some level. But it's like, I think what I just really appreciate about Nintendo and Sakurai and his team in general is that like we could get Banjo-Kazooie, and maybe not a lot of. I mean, I think a lot of people enjoy Banjo-Kazooie, but it's like it's not like it might not have the same response as Joker. But I think they would stick so faithfully to the character to do their best to like bring him into Smash that people are like, this is really impressive. Like, I couldn't ask for anything more.
I feel like Sora in a Digimon character would be extremely exciting.
Yeah.
I think Sora has a really good chance.
I think, because if we're talking about how big,
imagine the Digimon world as a stage, dog.
If I'm just going at like Persona was one of the biggest Japanese releases last year. Kingdom Hearts 3 is one of the biggest.
Hollow Bastion would be the stage, right? And
probably Destiny Island or Hollow Bastion, unless they
both.
Well, yeah,
it could low key. They could just kind of do it like they do with some of the other. Like it's a stage that kind of flat. Traverse Town, Twilight Town, like the different major players as you kind of go through. The
transition could be you following a gummy ship, dog.
Yeah, and you just pop out at different worlds at different times. Like 100%. It's like, as much as I like to joke around, Sora has been a character that has made sense for Smash, just from the standpoint of like. Sword character and so many.
I think the hardest part is the fact it's telling with Cloud that Cloud has only 2 music tracks, which is weird because he has 2 outfits. He's only one of the 2 people with 2 outfits in the game as DLC, but he only has 2 music tracks, and I don't know if that's just them being stingy or like the rights or the composer or whatever. But I'm kind of hoping
you only need 4.
You might not get 4, is what I'm saying.
I don't care. Look. If even if you did a remix of Simple and Clean. Look, if we get Simple and Clean, I don't think we're getting Sanctuary.
I want the Utada remix. I want the Hope remix.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting. Honestly, like, I think we would get one of the songs from Kingdom Hearts 3.
Although, to be fair, a lot of Smash music, if they have the permission, they have other companies remix them for them, and it sounds amazing.
So, like, I would want 3 tracks.
Simple.
No, Simple and Clean.
Sanctuary.
A remix of Sanctuary is, I think, due up, and then one of the 2 Kingdom Hearts 3 or Kingdom Hearts 3 ones, which if I had to pick from Don't Think Twice and
just imagine Skrillex being in
Don't think twice. I think you just go with Don't Think Twice. I don't think
Why
you go
not?
with...
You might as well just do the 3, right?
I don't think you do
I hope they remix it though, because
I think they will, because with the release of 2.8, The Hope remix that Shaz is talking about is still.
The-
It is just up there with Simple and Clean. It is
it's
such a
so
good remix.
good.
Such a good remix.
It's so good.
Actually, since we were talking about stages too, one of the new updates for Smash is also Stage Creator.
Yes.
And it is
And,
as simple
yeah.
as drawing like
Yeah.
a shape.
Yep. Pretty much.
You can make foreground, background, interactable, and you can save them, and you can upload them, and you can play them.
Once again,
Via
completely unnecessary.
Smash
Yep.
Bros on your phone as well.
Yep.
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 And video sharing.
Yes.
Yes, and video editing as well. So
Again, they're Nintendo and the Switch. Nintendo seems to be back on. They were never. They were never off. I think that a lot of core gamers took the Wii and the Wii U
The
as
Wii was
super
fine.
as super gimmicky, but they were still like seen as super gimmicky.
They were, but they kind of had an idea of what they were doing with the
But
Wii. The
I
Wii
think-
U,
I think, and this kind of ties into something I do want to bring up as well. The Switch just makes sense as an evolution of the.
Yeah.
Jet Set Radio would be dope, chat. I see you talking about Jet Set Radio. That would
is
be
Jet
insane.
Set Radio even
That'd be insane.
Nintendo?
It doesn't. I don't think it matters.
It doesn't
I
matter.
really don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters. I just want to hear Hideki Naganuma's music tracks. I
With
don't
that-
care.
With that
I
said, though,
don't
Mhm.
I think it's Nintendo once again with the Switch, getting back to what they do well, which is innovation and risk taking. But they did it in such a way that the general populace believes in it.
Yeah.
Like the core gamer. And the reason I said I wanted to bring that up today, if you have not gone to YouTube and watched it, Marquez Brownlee, aka MKBHD, has a new series where he looks at retro tech, talking
I
about
haven't seen that yet.
the original Game Boy. It is an amazing piece of YouTube original content. It is completely free to check out. I recommend it to anybody. And for me personally, having watched it and looking at how Nintendo is handling the Switch,
Mhm.
Nintendo is on that same path of doing
I think
something revolutionary
so
for
good.
gaming.
When
Also-
Nintendo's on top, they literally cannot be beat. They're
Also,
just-
in general, check
it's
out
great.
MKBHD as a channel. Really
Yes.
good tech channel.
Oh, yeah.
Great stuff. Great content creator.
100%.
Support the man.
But yeah,
I
100% agree.
go ahead, Chaz.
No, I said 100% agree. I mean, I think it was smart of Nintendo to be like, okay, we're literally like the only ones doing handhelds at this point, and we have that side and the console side. Let's just bring them together, and now we're like god tier again. Like, okay, it was super fun.
And the unfortunate thing is, it seems like we can never have just good news when it comes to things happening in the world and happening in the gaming space. Super Smash Bros. Has gotten flack for the lyrics in one of Joker's DLC tracks.
Supposedly,
That it apparently is, people believe that it includes the word retarded. And to anybody that if I did offend, I do apologize. But
it's a
up front,
Kotaku article, by the way.
it's-
Up front, it's let's roll it back. It is a Kotaku article, so let's just not
It's-
even.
I think this is one of those things that is. One, I want to know, like, I haven't listened to the track. I'm not going to make a bearing of, like, does it sound like
Well-
this? Not. Two, I think people are being. This is one of those times where people are being a little bit
So,
too sensitive. Like,
I think the funny thing is that one, it does if you're not really paying attention, you might hear that word. The issue is the person is not trying to say that word, because you got to remember this is a Japanese person trying to sing in English.
yeah.
There's gonna be an accent. There's going to be some flubbing of the word. If you just didn't expect, I don't know what to.
I would have to sit down and like really listen to it. I don't like people have this thing. It's a joke because if I'm being very and somebody points this out in the comments of the actual Kotaku article that this could be seen as just as racist towards and offensive towards Japanese people
Yep.
because you're about their pronunciation and why, like you're targeting somebody at that point. With that said, funnily enough, I was watching K-pop stuff recently with the boy, and the same thing comes up with certain words and certain
Yes, it means
They-
completely different things.
like
Mhm.
America.
They're not saying that, even though I'm sure you can kind of get away with
America,
it. But it's not what they're saying.
English, and it is not the only thing that exists. It's and I think it's already been highlighted. It's a Kotaku article, so please take this with a grain of salt. I think
only the person who wrote that article believes in what they're saying in their like. That's just.
It doesn't make sense because it's literally like the opening song for Persona. I'm sure people would have picked this out a long time. Like, it doesn't make sense why they would put that word in there.
Was this remixed whatsoever? Was this song remixed? Is this literally just the original track?
Is this man? It sounds the same. I'm not gonna lie. It sounds the same as the opening. It doesn't sound new.
If it's literally just the opening, then this song has been out for what, 3 years now?
Yeah.
Almost.
Like, look, we're not gonna. We're not gonna.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
We're not gonna like. It's one of those things that just. It's your job to write. I get that. I don't think this is an article that needs to be. That has any real substance to it beyond trying to find an issue.
And by the way, go ahead.
I'm saying if it is the case that the word is there, one, I don't think Nintendo, and I don't think that's the intention of it. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a really, like, it's one of those things where you're looking at a song and it's that weird point of art of, like, they're making a song. What is the purpose behind it? What is the person doing? Again, we could get into what word do you even think somebody from Japan was trying to say, and are you trying to do this in a way that's just as much attacking them? Kotaku,
the thing is, the lyrics are out. The lyrics for the song.
Yeah,
the problem is
people are saying is not, like, the spoken word part is not written anywhere.
That part was like a chorus almost. It wasn't actually.
There's not like a written version.
Yeah, it's almost like an ad lib type of thing that the
I will say, since the article has came out, Kotaku immediately was informed about their the misinformation, and took 8 hours to update the article.
Well, the problem was apparently, like, the person who wrote his Twitter was like, it's not updating, even though they updated it because of the CS or whatever. And the issue is, of course, it's still up, even though it was edited. And
they haven't changed anything
because it's clicks. Because of course it is. Because people want to see it. Like, there's no way someone would be stupid enough to say, like, it doesn't even fit in with the theme of Persona. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It just. It's dumb. Again, like, must have been a slow news day. Something.
It's Kotaku being Kotaku.
That's Kotaku. But that's what I mean, though. It's like, even for Kotaku, this is really bad.
I think they're doing their work over there. The last thing we have to talk about in trailers, and we're going to keep this one brief because this game is 100% coming out within the next week, and there's no reason for us to talk it to death. We got what may
I haven't even seen the trailer yet.
Maybe one of the best. Is that the right link?
The official one?
Yes, maybe one of the best fighting game trailers.
Best launch trailer of, like, forever. It's so good for no reason. It has no reason to be this good.
I just started the trailer.
They remix.
That's good. I like this.
The song.
I like this.
They remixed the song.
They know. Okay, that was good. This is good.
Like, one of the most known music, like, a video game associated music tracks in the world.
We're just gonna do it this way because everything's not working.
Are you good?
The VLC wasn't working.
Oh, okay, here we go.
I can't play the music. Well, I'll play a little bit of music. They don't give a fuck. We can just talk over it. It's good. It's playing, like, really low in the background.
It's so good. Please.
So there are story spoilers in here.
Yes, huge story spoilers.
Legitimately, though, it pays so much fan service, and it shows how you should handle goddamn fucking
It's so good.
a
That was a
game
good
that's meant to
trailer.
pay homage.
That was a good trailer. I just watched it. That was a good trailer.
Hmm. It's please watch it and listen to this remix.
It is a remix of the Mortal Kombat song.
Yep.
If you have played Mortal Kombat, if you've seen the movies, if you have existed around Mortal Kombat, you have heard that remix.
Mortal Kombat. Dude. Again, has to be one of the most well-known video game like associated tracks
Yes.
because it was in the movie first, and then they put it in like the video games. But it's like it has no right. The original song, by the way, has no right being good as it is.
Yes. But as you can see, we have confirmation of a few different characters. So the Cyber Ninjas seemingly see to me back, Cyrax.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And somebody pointed out that Ed Boon said no character would appear in the game that is unplayable. I'm trying to remember what the last word. He essentially said, like, it's almost confirmation that they will be some type of DLC because nobody will appear in the story that is completely that won't be.
Because people were freaking out because they saw Shiva in the back before, and they're like, is that playable? And it's like, oh.
I just want to make a quick, this is very quick thing. I really don't like Katana's design.
I'm not the person to have that conversation because I don't.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm not that type of person either.
I just want
Which
to say,
one of the designs? Because there's also they
the one
have
without the mask that they showed in like the reveal trailer for Katana and everything.
the current story version of
The
it.
current one.
Yeah.
Revenant Katana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people aren't fans of it, but I just
I mean, it's whatever. I mean, the
for me.
Mortal
I'm just saying, not a person personally. I'm not a big fan, but everything else about the game looks cool. So
We'll see how it plays. It comes out Tuesday, chat. I don't have a lot at this point. It's just I have to make it 2 more rests before I get the chance to play the game.
Is that how you see it?
Yeah. We're playing at midnight. I don't know what I'm playing the story mode at midnight. I don't know what you're talking about. It is rest tonight, rest tomorrow. That'll be Monday. Today's Friday.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Saturday, boom. Then we rest Saturday, Sunday. Boom. We're Monday, boom, and we're good.
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly what you're looking at, and y'all are. We have 2 hours left in Friday. You're thinking way too hard about this.
Don't worry about
that's
it.
what happens when we start late.
I also don't go to sleep at before midnight, so it's not like it's still it's still 2 sleeps for me, whether or not it's 2 sleeps for
2
anybody else.
sleeps.
Okay,
2 naps.
all right.
I don't give a fuck. Mortal Kombat looks good. We'll see it when it comes out, and it's going to be fun.
I mean, Strix, technically you do sleep before midnight because if you're going to sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning, that is technically before.
No.
Midnight.
It isn't.
It's
after midnight of the previous day.
okay, but it's before midnight of the next day.
Yeah, but I operate on noon as midnight.
Okay, but you're still sleeping before midnight.
No, I'm not.
I'm just saying, man. Technically.
I'm not.
Technically.
I'm not. That emote is you right now. That emote in the chat is you 100%. Don't you ever make that noise again. Don't you ever. When you got Shaz with that face.
Disrespectful. He has no idea about the art and the craft.
I'm gonna do the shorter one of these two.
Okay.
Before we get into it.
There's Xbox sad.
Yeah, I'm not calling it that.
The Xbox One.
We're gonna call it the Xbox Digital.
The sad.
No, the Strix. Say it by its full name. It's the Xbox One.
People,
S.
look, no, y'all
Digital
fucks
edition.
need to stop being fucking lazy.
Maybe they shouldn't fucking name it that. What you get mad
No.
at me, bitch?
Because you're fucking trying to be sure. Just call it the Xbox One S All Digital Edition.
It's called the Xbox
sad.
One Sad Edition.
The Xbox
Save.
One sad.
It's
No.
the Sad Edition.
No.
one says edition. No one says edition.
It's
Everyone
the
adds the E.
Xbox One.
No.
This is the company that named their product Xbox One X, which just spells out Xbox.
But who walks the fuck in the store and says that? Just say I want the Xbox One X. It's not that many syllables. You lazy
but
fucks.
but now you can't say now. Just give me the Xbox One S. You have to say give me the Xbox One S.
No, all right. So let's have a whole conversation about this because as someone that has worked at a GameStop, I'm gonna have a whole ass conversation. No, what this is it's a way for us to sell fucking Xboxes to people, and unless you clarify you want the fucking disc drive, you're not getting one. This is
sad.
First of all right, because this is gonna turn into a whole conversation. I'm gonna state my stance because I want more consoles to do this. Fuck a disc drive. We do not need them in 20. I would rather them move to all your games being on USB drives.
No.
You just get a case with a USB drive in it.
I would legitimately be pissed if they took off a disc drive in the next coming system because I want physical copies.
Doesn't mean you need the disc. There are plenty of games that sell with a code inside and you get the box still.
There are just as many issues as having digital only than there is physical.
Say that one more time. What? Say that one more time.
I know what I said.
No, my brain died for a second. I'm asking you to repeat it because I.
Dude, are you okay? Why are you having strokes?
Just don't ask questions. But...
what the fuck is going on?
Okay, so not everyone needs it. Okay, so
I'm not saying I'm saying we live in a day and age where having and I think this is a good way to get around it. I do think this should be the primary version. You can buy a disc drive if you want. They can even make a disc drive accessory if people want it.
I mean, it's going to be all digital sooner or later because I think they said that the market of games right now is 80% digital.
Let me ask you a serious question. So, Alejandro, do you have a CD drive in your PC?
Yes.
Do you use it?
Yes.
For what?
Movies.
How do you realize that you're also the far minority?
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm only saying this because we're at a point now, and sorry, Shaz, to keep cutting you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
It's gonna happen. I'm 100% down for. I'm 100% down for. It to be.
Here's the thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, real quick. Here's the thing. People literally have consoles that they use for movie players too.
Yeah,
I'm not saying because all that changes in this world is there's not a disc. There's not something physically that you can destroy in which you can no longer get to the media. You will still have access to it. You would still get a key which you could download and use. And I get it. People want to talk about DRM and not being able to access their shit. DRM to me is a completely separate issue than having shit physically.
I see this as this. Do you have the headphone jack or not?
I think this is where this becomes a really weird conversation because no, the reason why is as a person that's in the tech space, there are two sides to that argument which are both correct. It is dated technology that will be phased out inevitably,
but not now.
The idea is that, and the idea is that it hasn't been yet because legacy hardware and all this other stuff. Why it's still here. Now, with that said, this never turns to this until some big player in the market is willing to say, fuck it. And why you see the headphone jack becoming a commodity, becoming like a big thing. And if you look, even with people like Samsung, they are now saying hey, our future is wireless. Their flagship phone no longer has a headphone jack.
It's going to, because the reason why behind that, if people are curious, is why do they want to get rid of the headphone jack? It's because they literally can't make it any smaller than the size it is to fit it, and they're like, that's wasted space, and they're gonna get rid of it. Same thing with the digital edition of Xbox. It's the people are right that there's gonna be countries that don't have internet access or aren't good or reliable, but right now, even in the UK and other countries, sales of games are 80% digital, so they're like, we're testing waters right now, but eventually there's going to be just a digital-only console, and you're going to be able to buy probably the disc drive version, but you're going to have to pay $50 to $100 more.
Because that existed on the Xbox. That existed on the Xbox 360. You could just buy a little thing you
Right.
plug in and you can stick a disc in it.
You can still buy physical games. You're just gonna have to pony up another $100.
Yeah, like I wouldn't even be surprised if all Microsoft did is we'll give you a disc, but like even my my records, my vinyls that I get,
Hmm.
every single one of them comes with a code that's like, hey, here's a digital code of the key.
Also, technically, there is a way
So
for
I can
game
still listen to it
companies
'cause I've
and
already bought it.
devs to make more profit. Because if they sell the games at the same price but don't have to go through manufacturing discs,
Yeah,
I'm sure that has to come out to some profit. I don't
somebody's
know how
making
much
the
it
profit,
is.
obviously.
Somebody's
I-
making money.
It's just I'm always on the consumer convenience, consumer friendly version.
It is,
of
but the
the
digital
spectrum.
one is the consumer
but-
friendly
and
one.
this
I would
is-
argue.
It will,
What I would
That's
because-
80%. You're
because here's the
literally
thing, here's
you're
the thing.
literally 20% though. Like that's not
No,
convenient to the
but
other
here-
80%.
no. But here's the thing: it's also not inconvenient to the other 80%.
but-
Because
Well,
even if it has a disc drive,
they have to waste $100 on a drive they're never gonna use.
Yeah, the price of this starting is $249.
Right.
Which unfortunately people are like, well, that's like a similar price to the Xbox One and One S already. And it's like, well, that's because they've been out in the market for a super long time.
Right.
You're talking
I mean,
at a
I'm
new
both.
console.
I'm both because
Yeah.
I like having physical
Like-
games. But if I'm too lazy to go buy it or whatever, or day one like midnight, I'm gonna buy it digital.
It's
But from a realistic like money making side, it's like if 80% of the world is buying games digitally, it's like that's not worth it to like you're gonna have to
So-
pony up extra money to do the physical. I'd want a physical disc because it's like okay, I have older games I want to put in or like backwards compatibility. I agree. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's not like they're doing it to spite people. It makes sense
And-
from a business side. Like
Alejandro, I'll make the
You know.
comparison to Evo. It's like it's like this year and Melee. If until somebody does it, it will not happen. Until somebody
Right.
is willing to say like, hey, this is the future and we're gonna take the step now.
it's gonna suck till it doesn't suck. 100. It's like with
Yeah.
CGI anime. It's gonna suck till somebody
US
actually does their best to do
I
it.
know. See, it's the thing is, I don't agree with you, but I just feel like it's. It's not that I don't disagree with you. It's just like, I'm having a stroke now.
Double
too.
negative right now.
I'm
So
having
you
a
just
stroke
said
now,
you
too.
agreed with him. You said you don't disagree with him.
No. Okay. I think you guys are
It's okay.
correct in what you're saying. It's just a think of.
Mhm.
I feel like it will just be like, for that part of the audience, for that part of the people who do want to. Okay, Lena.
I totally understand because even in our own
So-
country, like in the Midwest,
Mhm.
internet is just terrible or people just don't have it. And again, I totally understand. It's not
Mhm.
fair for people
mean,
that just don't
but-
have the
but
option. to
This
do
is
it.
me. This is me saying this though. Like
Mhm.
to me, that also says that this being in our market allows them to sell other consoles in other places. Like
Right.
it's one of those things. Like why games are cheaper other places? They can just make the console cheaper
Mhm.
where the internet doesn't exist overall. And I'm just at the position because like I was one of those people that I felt like Xbox One got killed this past generation when they talked about going all digital.
Yeah.
When I look at it as a PC game, like I don't get mad that I don't have a CD key or a physical copy of my Steam games. And on top of that, I asked this because like what if this is speculation. If instead of a disc, they don't even have to give you an actual disc. They give you a piece of high quality card stock with the same art that you would normally get. They give you everything essentially that's there beyond the disc to stick in the tray.
I mean, most Kickstarters, when they say physical edition, is just the art box with the code inside.
And that's
Yeah.
like
And I think here's another
that's
thing.
that's where it is.
Okay.
When you make an all digital version, because shout outs to Funhouse, they literally like disassembled the all digital edition of like the Xbox, and they're like, it's probably just going to be the hard drive taken out with an empty SATA drive, and that's what all it was. And I was thinking about it, like they even said it too. They have to keep the same shape for money reasons, but it's also like if it's an all digital machine, all you have to really worry about is the motherboard, CPU, the fan, and like whatever inputs like USB power, and that's it. You don't have like the physical disk drive is literally like this big. So by not having that much, they can input more fans, more cooling. What again? That's all I'm saying for that part of it. It's just I agree. I don't want physical to go all the way away, but for me, it makes sense from a business side of like why they're thinking about this stuff. I think it's very smart that Xbox is like, we're gonna put an S version that's just no hard drive, not hard drive, no disk drive that's $50 less, and it's like that's smart.
So
Now people
I'm going to
have bigger-
argue for you, Alejandro, very briefly.
Mhm.
This becomes a problem if Microsoft takes the Apple route. Limited IO, but pay us like $100 and we'll give it back to you. That's where it becomes like super because we know how much you're saving per console. You don't really need, or at least let somebody go out and buy a USB disk drive and plug it in.
It's just like for me, like I'm personally just always going to be one of those people until it's to the point where it's like it's not an option anymore. I'm not gonna.
I would say you don't have a choice at that point. So.
No, yeah. I'm always gonna be one of those people. Samsung phones still have headphones jack, so I'm always gonna buy those. Phones.
And what happens when they don't though?
If they don't, then if literally we get to the point where it's like no headphone jacks.
Oh, there will always be, I think, a company that will keep it in there because they know.
I think they'll do it. I think there'll be a company. You're gonna have to pay a premium, but you know.
Like I'm okay with literally switching the brand of phone I have if it has a headphone jack in the phone, because modern phones are fine. Modern phones nowadays are literally they're pretty good. Even like the weird like low, you could still get a decent phone. If it gets to the point where literally like let's say the PlayStation 5, if the PlayStation 5 comes out and there's only a no disc version, I'm shit out of luck. I'm still gonna buy the PlayStation 5 because there are probably gonna be titles I want to get in there. I will buy it, but it's like,
and I guess I'm
gonna be upset.
The other side of that is part of what I was also thinking is like, just like Microsoft does with Windows installation, they just sell USB drives now.
Right.
Like there's a handful of games that are actually too big for a USB drive at this point.
Yeah.
Like most games are actually not approaching absurd, like where you would need to ship a small hard drive.
I think the case is different for USB is because that's also an input and output device for like USB jack. Because like if you put a USB jack into a PlayStation or whatever, or Xbox, you can use it for a flash drive, you can use it for a controller, you can use it for an external hard drive. Like that is a universal thing.
I mean,
that may be replaced by something in the future, but CDs are just for read and write only versus I can use a controller for this spot, I can use this to install something, I can use this to download something, I can use this for a completely different thing. Like that's it'll eventually happen too, but I think that's a different issue. Also, they keep revising it, so it's like, you know.
Yeah, I am somebody that I personally see early adoption, and I don't take that for everybody, but I think we're getting to a point where they're like all the benefits of a physical copy of the game can still exist in so many forms that does not involve like a disc having to be sold. And the all digital version, and I still don't think this is going to be the next console. I don't think they're going to I think they will have an all digital version.
Yeah.
And for people that want to save $50 to $100, plus whatever the savings of buying games digitally can be, which is another $10 or so. Like it'll be there for those people. But for people that want the physical stuff, it won't disappear because the places like GameStop and other retailers do exist well enough that they will be the cornerstone of that market, even if the developer proffers.
It's not going to come out of nowhere, but I think you'll see a big push, especially with the next generation of like.
By the generation after this, I think we're done. By the Xbox, we'll say 3, because if we consider 1, 2, 3, But by the
if it's Xbox 2.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that.
That's not gonna be. It's gonna be something.
If I'm being completely honest, we're the next one may just be the Xbox, and it just may have different accessories to go. And I don't think a problem. I think if you make the commitment to stay, if you make a commitment to just stay, to iterate on like the same hardware, like a basic box, I think it's fine to do a refresh and a rebrand to just.
Their naming is so trash.
I mean, they started with Xbox and went Xbox 360.
Well, they did 360 because the PS3 was coming out, and they didn't want grandmas and like grandpas
to see a lower number.
To see Xbox 2, like, oh, Xbox 2 must be, reasonably speaking, worse than the PS3, which makes sense from a marketing standpoint. It's just unfortunate now that they didn't even, after 360, there was no follow up. People made jokes like 720, and it's like.
And then the Xbox One because it was the one
The
box.
all-in-one device, which is
It just was
terrible.
unfortunate because that marketing strategy failed. For those that are wondering, though, it is a 1 terabyte all digital edition console. I think that's one of the problems I have with it. It should come with a two terabyte
Yep.
hard
Yeah,
drive.
1 terabyte
If you're
fine,
going
definitely.
if you're going all digital, especially for any gamer that plays
Yeah.
more than, I mean, I think digital is still like 10
Does
to
the-
15 games or something like that, 20 games maybe.
Maybe.
Does the Xbox allow for expanded storage? Can you
I
put in
believe
a hard
believe
drive?
so.
Okay.
You could probably plug a USB to it. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's
I mean, that's if I
$249
put it
from the
old school.
jump. It comes with 3 games. Minecraft, Sea of Thieves, Forza Horizon 3.
Yeah.
Okay, now you actually got me. Ooh, okay, Forza.
And
I mean, they're trying to push it. I mean,
it
that's
looks literally the exact same as a
It's the Xbox
Xbox
One.
One.
Yeah.
Just with you know.
It's sad.
I wouldn't be surprised if in the future, if
distract.
people, if there are places like the Midwest, their like internet connection might not be the best, where people just straight up get a USB from GameStop. Like, hey, here's my thing of like, we confirm that you have this game on your account, but you can't download it. Here's this USB stick. Bring it back to us in a week. Okay.
And that's just to my final point. It's like stuff like that is like for the people who do want to play offline and you do have the disc, or for the people who have movies that they want to watch on their PlayStation or Xbox or whatever. It's like there is a market there.
Yeah.
Like even if it's not just only games, it's like there is a market there. It's just
Also, I saw a chat earlier. I don't think offline is an issue because people are already on Steam appearing offline. Now, how you don't need to be connected to the internet the entire time to play games. Same thing with consoles now. You don't have to be connected the entire time to play games, even if it's digital. So,
And I do
but there
also
are certain games.
no,
Yeah.
that's definitely developer. But I think if we're gonna push more and more digital, they're gonna have to back off of it because people are like, I don't have a stable enough connection. They're like, you know what? That just makes we can't do that.
I think that's my big thing is like I think there are certain games that like you have to be online. Like
Yeah.
ultimately like saying it like things like the looter shooter genre that currently exists, Destiny, Anthem, Division. Those are games that require online.
Yeah.
The current way DRM works, yes, requires online because of just they don't want somebody, because the theoretical side of this is all you need, because of how close these are to PCs. You just need an ISO of the game, and if you can get into the hardware, it wouldn't matter at that point. You could make the game play if there's no reason for you to ever check with being online. I'm somebody that appears offline 99% of the time.
Same.
Because it's just how I prefer to
I think
exist
inherently
offline.
there's no real way for multiplayer unless it's like a LAN setup, which isn't really a thing anymore.
I mean, but even with that, the way like PlayStation's works is as long as it's on your main account. So like if this is my PlayStation 4, I can play the games that I've purchased.
Yes.
Whether or not I'm connected to the internet, whether or not any of that shit exists, I can play those games once I have them.
I mean, realistically, this is going to be once countries just get developed to a point where, I hate to say this, where they're like, okay, we know these parts of these countries or this country in general doesn't have internet. We don't care. We're going to do all digital because enough people in the world are doing it that we're going to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, eventually it's going to suck, but it's going to come to a point where they're like, it doesn't matter if this country has no internet because we want money.
Okay.
And this is the easiest way to do this. Not only do we save money, or like contractors or whatever for making discs and like making box arts and stuff like that is no longer going to be a thing physically anymore, and like it's going to happen. I don't see it happening like again immediately within like the next like even 10 years, but I think it's going to get a huge push. I think it's going to get a definite noticeable push for sure.
And I only because it's happened with everything else.
It's
Most people's PCs, even if you have a disk drive, they don't get used to your phone.
I don't use it. I unplug my disk drive.
Phones are low key moving to a point where we don't have any input whatsoever into the phone. In the next few years, wireless charging is going to be in everything, so there won't be a need for any jack on any phone. I think we're just moving towards that future, and while I think legacy hardware should exist, there will come a point where I think, like, I'm trying to think how to say this. Because it sounds like a dick to be like, well, gaming will have just evolved past that. That sounds like a dick statement to make. But
I don't think I know what
the
you're saying,
world
but-
will be in a position where, because like I look at it to then
That is more of the norm.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it's
what-
more
that's
the
what I'm
norm. That's a
saying,
good
though. It's-
because
if-
like
if-
where
if-
more people, we don't have Hollywood videos and blockbusters
God.
anymore because we have Netflix. And
Jesus.
while people initially hated the idea that I can't just drive, I had to wait for it to come in the mail. Eventually Netflix came out with streaming, which even like kind of made its mailing things to 90% of the population.
It's the progression of technology.
I
Yeah.
imagine because they still ship DVDs. I'm sure that's a huge thing in the Midwest, but every other part of the U.S.
I
I don't
mean
think
Midwest
that's
has decent internet. I legitimately I'll make the joke of, and this, don't take offense to this, anybody out here that agrees with this. It's for people like my parents' age.
Mhm.
I have the conversation all the time about cutting the cord with my parents, about you only really need internet. You don't need cable. You don't need a DVD player. You don't need these things. Yes, you can have them. Yes, I personally own Blu-rays and physical copies of certain things because at that point it's me supporting the thing.
Yeah.
But it's not like, example would be I own Harry Potter all 7 movies on Blu-ray because you can't watch it anywhere on the fucking internet. I wouldn't have bought it if I could. And I think we're eventually going to get to a point where we all have little chips in our brains that the government can control, and then we'll all just walk around like mindless robots and enjoy ourselves in Matrix style.
I'm fine with that.
Glad we're all on the same page. Hey,
I-
Alejandro, this podcast supports our new overlords. Don't you fucking say shit. If I die because of you, I'm coming after you. As a
Listen,
ghost.
I'm not 100% for the Disney reign supreme.
Okay,
machine,
then it's
alright?
Amazon
Like,
or Apple.
it would be.
It would be a sparkling white world in Apple's case.
It would be.
In Apple's case, just a
God, no.
sparkling,
Oh, God.
pristine world.
When the-
Everybody
when-
wears
when-
all
when-
white.
When the car's windshield is made of the same glass as fucking iPhone, it's just oh my
Beautiful.
god!
Actually,
It's kind of just shadows,
one of my
like-
friends brought this up while we were talking. Imagine if Disney bought Universal.
I don't see the problem.
They probably will.
Yeah. It's only a matter.
Because
like-
Universal owns Hulk, and Marvel can't use Hulk right now, so they're like,
They'll buy a portion of it, maybe not the whole
Yeah.
company, but
yeah.
they'll
That's, I
buy-
mean, that's how it starts, though. They usually buy a portion of it, like 10%, and then they grow and grow and grow every year, buying shares from other people that own it.
No, but
And
it's like, imagine if Disney is like the
conglomerate.
I don't have to imagine it. They are.
No,
God, I'm
like all right, like
imagining
if I'm gonna be being very serious. When everybody talks about dystopian futures where the corporations control everything, Amazon controls your shopping. Disney controls most of your entertainment.
and childhood.
Apple and Microsoft consume most of your free time and somehow your desktop browsing history. And then you maybe have your phone company, and if you start to toss Google in there, with Google's lockdown on Android, your phone also falls under that. We are in a world where 5 to 10 corporations probably have control of 90% of your life.
Yeah, that's it. If you like that company, it's probably owned by that other company that you don't like.
What is that thing? It's
There
like
was a tree. There was a tree thing I saw on the internet once where it's like how much like the 5 companies own, and it's like 3,000 companies or something stupid.
the big security camera is being rebranded. What's what the big one?
Security camera.
Oh, I got it. But Amazon bought them and they're rebranding it to they're rebranding it to like the Amazon blah 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 blah.
Not the GoPros. Was it? No, that's not it. It's I know what you're talking about though, because it's like want to be their like basic thing. That's like what they did with Curse with or
Yeah.
Twitch, I think, right? Yeah.
And that's where I'm not gonna even get to it, but Alejandro, we live in a world where by next year, Apple will be people's banks.
Yeah.
Like
all the money's in their system already. Like all that money, it's like when you add money to your wallet on PlayStation or Xbox, and it's like so you just give them $100 that you might not even spend. It's just in the system already.
and no matter how much you may want it back, you'll just get 100 of PlayStation bucks, 100
Yeah.
Xbox bucks. You never have $100 back.
It's the literal digital version of getting a gift card from somebody as your birthday present.
It's And like I get all the security concerns about it. I get all the morality concerns about it. I get all the things that we have to care about there, and it's gotten to a very weird place.
Can I just say one quick thing? Speaking of all this, for anyone who hasn't read the book, check out 1984 by George Orwell. Because I think it's very relevant to what we're talking about. And
I will say
right
to
now.
anybody with that, if the solution that you have is to just not do it, that's not how the world works. We're changing and moving towards this. The thing is, how do we put preventative measures in place to deal with these concerns?
I don't know if this is updated, but this is like one of the ones I saw for Disney alone. I don't know how old this is.
Oh yeah, you got the I can't open the.
I can't. What?
All right, chat. We're gonna break the pot. No, we're not gonna break the pot.
Hold on. I can do this. Hold on.
Just pop it in Twitch chat if you got it.
All right, hold on. That's the actual site. If people are curious, that's the actual site. You can click on the image. I don't know if this is like 100%.
I'll pull it up on screen for people then. This is a very weird section, but this is what happens when we get to the point where we're talking about.
But 100%, I don't see any reason why for someone who made this like article to like fake this. So
yeah. So like, for those that wonder what a document showing what Disney owns looks like,
of course it would look like this.
I mean, this is just the stylization of the But they have ESPN, so sports. FX is in there. Sky. They have Marvel Studios, Star Wars. Yeah, there's going through all of these little things. Hulu is under there. GoPro, Photo Bucket, Buena Vista.
They own GoPro.
Yeah.
Movies Anywhere.
They own ESPN.
No, like it's not like people. I think I tend to be very lighthearted about it. They own a portion of Fox, not like a significant portion of Fox.
Why do you think they showed Evo on both Disney and Fox or ESPN?
National Geographic.
They showed it on Disney.
Yeah, like they still Smash Evo. I think pretty sure.
Amidst everything that we've talked about, like
or
as much as I joke, Amazon, like Disney is no better. Amazon's no better. They have bought food companies. They have bought physical shopping locations. They've bought stores of every genre. There will be a point. Remember, Amazon just recently sold off their. Was it Amazon or was it Google that bought Airbnb buildings recently? Like they owned actual physical property for apartment buildings, and I think they sold it off after a while. But that's where I'm saying, like, hey, how do we fix this? But what we will be focusing on, getting back to the core of this podcast, is gaming and anime. So let's talk about the other side of the from the Xbox, the PlayStation 5. We've gotten some speculation as to what the PlayStation 5 will look at. And
the second link is more organized with the specs.
And what's better than anything else is that some of these speculations come straight from the horse's mouth. For once, we are not listening to some dev that has a dev kit that posted a picture through a VPN on a side account on 4chan.
Actual confirmation from the person making it. Oh,
so
bless.
We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk with the stuff that you should care about because it's like good. The stuff that is marketing BS that I'm telling you right now, they're going to try to shill you on. Please don't fucking fall for it. And then kind of the stuff in the middle. So the good stuff. Yeah. Unlike this generation, they have already announced PlayStation 4 backwards compatibility from the jump. It is one of those things that, look, and Sony, I'm looking at you right now. After all the stuff I just talked about Microsoft, if this does not apply to digital licenses, I will fucking fight you.
Yo.
They did it before with PlayStation 3 to 4. Like I owned Journey, and so when it came out on PS4, I got it on PS4.
Yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't. It might be a system thing, but
just in case somebody at Sony thought it was a good idea. Yeah. If we own it digitally on PS3 or PS4, let's just say PS4, on PlayStation 5, I should be able to play it.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to buy Last of Us 1.
No, buy it again.
Again.
Buy it again.
Nah, Mr. Discman.
We haven't had confirmation for PS3 because the PS3 is a mess architecturally, like
Yes.
for games. So if you're expecting PS3 games,
Yeah,
don't have your hopes up.
That's a yikes. Well, if I think if they've gotten it running on PS4, then they can move some of that.
There were a lot of games that they were like.
I don't think it's everything.
My hope is PS2. My hope is PS2.
I think PS1 and PS2 is free.
Well, you say that.
You
say that, but PS4 didn't have PS2 games.
Well, I'm saying
those you can emulate. Like it's the same thing they said with the Sony, the like little mini PlayStation. It was just an emulator put on the fucking box.
Yeah.
Real talk. The reason why I didn't have the PS2 emulator, I think, is because people would have got mad. Like, okay, PS2 is cool, but we want the PS3 one because we have all these games like physically already. 100%. But yeah, I don't. PS1 and PS2, I feel like are super free. 100%.
Yeah.
That's like one of those things that's really big. SSDs. This is common sense. I read an article today where we're at a point where Intel, I believe, has a 1 terabyte SSD on the market for $100. We're at the point where
that's so crazy.
SSDs are just like old hard drives were. They're getting dirt cheap per dollar.
I have 100 gigabyte SSD from like 3-4 years ago.
Yep.
And that was like $100. Now it's a terabyte for like it's so crazy, dude.
And like NVMe SSDs are gonna be. That's the big thing. That's gonna be pretty big. Now, there's a lot of speculation going on about processors and RAM and a whole bunch of other stuff, but the stuff that Sony also confirmed was ray tracing will be on there. Yes. I think with the knowledge of the current market of graphics cards, AMD and NVIDIA, both of them are pretty interested in gathering that market share of being able to be in the consoles. Usually it's AMD, so it wouldn't surprise me that AMD is probably going to end up being able to do ray tracing stuff. They've already talked about it and hinted at it.
They've been going really hard on the console side, so I'm not surprised at all.
All right. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna take a break.
PSVR confirmed too, by the way.
PSVR, that's good.
3D audio.
PSVR is still fucking dope. 3D audio is dope.
We've had that for PC for a long time, but it just means that if you should really use headphones from now on for PS4.
And I do want to clarify for those that don't get the difference between an SSD and a normal hard drive. They tested it with Spider-Man on the PS4.
Yes.
On the current PS4, it takes 15 seconds. On the early dev kit of the PlayStation 5, it was 0.8 seconds
for load times. So the scene where
that was a test.
Train, like for the fast travel, it's literally not even a second. So,
and that's just dope. That to me like shows you why, and in any like PC stuff, SSD is such a big cost. Now we're gonna talk. It's not coming out in 2019, but before they even let's get ahead of the bull. They're talking 8K visuals. No.
It will support. No. It will support. This is the big word. Support 8K visuals.
No, watch. It will support you watching Netflix at 8K.
Yeah.
It at 24 FPS.
Yes.
If you think there is a game coming out
that renders at 8K,
that renders, let's go down the list. That renders at 8K, that performs anywhere near even 30 FPS. I'm being generous saying 30.
Yeah.
At 8K.
Above like 5. Are you kidding me?
Let's ignore the fact you need an 8K TV. Like we're not going to even get into
right.
Right. Sony, you just did this generation with 4K. Yeah. We literally just had this entire conversation about upscaling and all this. I don't mind that it's upscaled. It's going to be upscaled. Why? Because most people's computers right now cannot touch 4K consistently.
No.
We're
just getting to 4K like 120, 144 hertz.
Honestly, the specs that they're that are planned to be for the PS5. If anything, the PS5 will probably run, if not 4K exactly, then like some lower version of a resolution. It's gonna be over 1920 by 1080.
People don't realize there's like
I wouldn't be surprised 1440p. 1440p, I think.
The PS5 will definitely be able to run 1440p, 60 FPS. Yeah. I see without an issue.
This is more like them trying to get back to their kind of like roots. Well, I mean, it's not like they were ever gone, but just like with the PlayStation 3 and stuff, like Blu-rays and stuff, it's pretty much just gonna be like for movies and stuff to support this, like the crazy like high end, like we got like the raw, almost not even raw footage, but like the raw unedited, like not downsized movie version of like that makes sense. It'll probably be able to play 8K movies.
Yeah,
when that's just playback. That's just
when
whatever.
people say when this article is when PlayStation is saying that it will support 8K graphics, that means that if you put an 8K movie, you will be able to watch it in 8K. That does not mean that the games will
You're
run.
not going to be able to see the dead
Dog,
skin.
I wish it was even worse.
Bro.
Is it wrong that I wish it was even worse than that? I want them to literally mean like, you can render and pull up a 8K picture, and we'll get it up there eventually. We'll get it. Yo, like that shit be like.
Can you not?
Nah, because like I'm sorry, like I'm not at a point anymore where and it's because I think all of us understand the technology that well.
Yeah.
We understand
but it's not for us.
We understand what our PCs can do.
But that business talk isn't for us though. You know that. It's not for us. It's
yes.
for the cat.
As the person that worked at GameStop, it's for the grandma that's walking in my store asking me what should I buy, and I heard this buzzword 8K. What's it mean? Is it really good? That's who it's for.
Yeah.
I want to say that because I'm looking at all of y'all. The three of us just got done playing The Forest. Shit didn't run at fucking
480p.
Shit didn't run at 1080p consistently for any of us. Imagine, like, that's where I get mad because none of us have hardware like that is comparable to the PlayStation 4.
No.
It's not bad. It's better than. Let me even clear, because somebody might be like, "Oh, it's worse than." No, it's better than the PS4.
Yes, easily.
And that's why I'm saying, like,
the specs of the PlayStation 5 is like on the higher tier of a mid-range PC right now.
Also, by the way,
really
resolution doesn't. Any game can have 1080p resolution, but to have it actually play at 1080 consistently, plus render it at that much is completely different. I can upsize this fucking or downscale this stream to be 1080.
Yeah,
but the stream isn't at 1080. You know what I mean?
Because here's the thing as the render scale, and when you play a game, you can put the 4K option, but you're gonna turn down the render scale so it renders at 1080p.
Oh yeah, 100%. We all
ways the game.
No reasonable developer is looking at the PS5 like 4K at like 60. Like no, you can't do that. You're crazy.
The PS5.
No, there will be there are games that can do it.
Maybe.
I'm being honest.
Actually, you know what? Later
racing
games
games.
when it's optimized. Yes, racing games. I could.
That's why racing. For those that don't know, that's why racing games are also always the first games to be shown off. They are the games that graphically you can do.
And that's why they hold up the longest.
So much,
Ridge Racer, Forza. They always.
Forza. I believe Forza is one of the games that on Xbox One is native 4K.
Also, because it only has to render like usually one way, and you're not. Of course, I think everyone knows.
Even in 3.
Yeah, I think everyone knows the trick of racing games is that you're not actually going anywhere. It's the world moving usually. So, it really depends. Sometimes it works, but yes, that is why.
It's the fact that Sony came out and announcing the PlayStation 5, couldn't help but slip in
Gran Turismo real quick, just
a buzzword, right? Like, because watch, we're gonna get to E3 and they're like, look. It's not coming out this year, but...
Hey, kid.
Well, hold on.
Wait, they're not even at E3 this year.
They're going to have an event. I believe they have PlayStation whatever at the end of the year. But they're going to get up...
but that's the end of the year.
State of Play?
PlayStation Experience.
Yeah.
Or State of Play. State of Play was earlier. PlayStation Experience.
No, State of Play is...
that's the Nintendo Direct. Yeah, so we'll probably see it at one of them. But watch.
We'll have an E3 State of Play.
A guy gets up on stage and is like, we don't have very much to talk about, but today we wanted to show you the future of PlayStation. Lights dim, prepared video comes up. It looks amazing. Everybody's blown away.
Okay, bye.
And then all of us are like, all right, so how you think that shit's gonna actually look in a year? Like, because we definitely ain't getting that shit. Like, I want them to, because it was, like, I just think about the PlayStation Pro compared to the PlayStation. And that's a big difference. As someone that owns a Pro, it's a godsend. Kingdom Hearts 3 and 60F, amazing. Now, just make sure like your games consistently do that.
Yeah.
And if you want to have, and for the people that want to make a game like Hellblade, that maybe want to do 30 FPS or David Cage, whoever the fucking wants to do shit at 30 FPS, they can maybe get away with.
I am
4K.
I hope this
Maybe.
is gonna happen every damn time. But can I just please say this for people who are like, "Oh, this game doesn't run at 60." Please, God, there's sometimes games want to look a certain way, and that's why they do it for a reason. It's not that they can't render it or have it play at 60. It's literally just because they want it to look.
It's a choice.
Way. Please understand. Yes, I hated the fact that there would be people during the PS4 and Xbox One this generation be like, it was 30 FPS for artistic reasons. Everyone knew it's like, dude, you barely run.
Just
30
be honest.
Now. Like, just please be honest, so that the people who are actually making games to look a certain way don't look bad.
And on that note, going to Shaz with that note.
So frustrating.
Devs, if your peak is 60 FPS, your game does not run at 60.
Yeah.
Do not fucking lie to me.
It has to be 60 under load.
Nah,
Under
like
load.
they will take the prettiest screenshot of the sky you have ever seen. And the moment they pan down to that field and you see that blade of grass in the wind, that should be like
PS1 grass, the PS1 2, the 2.
The Kevin Hart picture, just looking at like, wait, what happened?
Made up of 3 pixels. Like, wait, hold on.
And that's my only thing is like I'm at a point, I guess personally now, where game companies, I'm going to treat you like adults, treat me like an adult.
Right. Don't lie to me.
And
Also,
just give it to me straight.
I'm tired. This was Xbox. I'm pretty sure PlayStation did it before too, but I just remember this when they had like nothing going on with the Xbox One when they first announced it. It was like septillion. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? Cloud? Dude,
What do you mean?
Stop lying.
Listen,
Please,
Shaz, we must talk about teraflops. All right.
Stop lying to me. Please stop lying to my face as a consumer that the cloud.
It just
somehow.
Yo, Google's doing it, dog. Google got the cloud. Google the cloud. No, the cloud can do it. I don't know if the cloud's going to do it. It's a sunny ass day outside. I ain't seen no clouds.
You better have Google. You better have Google Fiber if you're doing the cloud.
At this point, again, I know that it's more for casuals, for grandmas, grandpa, all these older people who might just not know or just don't care.
Buzzwords.
I think yes, that as well. I think also we've gotten to a point where gaming has become amazingly mainstream to the point where it's completely relevant, like all the time. That I think we would deserve less of the bullshit. It's still gonna happen because of businesses and investors forcing people's hands. I understand that you can't control that. These are people who literally own stakes of your company. But please, God, I'm gonna just blow a lid if PlayStation, Xbox, like, yo, real talk though. Earth technology. When the Earth rotates, you get an extra 2 frames for your game. You're like, what did you just say to me? What the fuck did you just say to me, bro? Yo, dog, when the earthquake happens, get +3 on block. Like, oh no.
Yo, like, nah.
That was ugly, dog. That was ugly, dog.
Oh my god, bro. But that's what it feels, right? When they were talking about the cloud thing, I felt bad because Xbox One already wasn't making a great case. It was already terrible. So I felt like I was beating a dead horse. But when they said the cloud technology, I was like, you're just lying to me. You're literally just not saying anything to me right now. So
like my thing has always been like, the cloud should not be like, look what we can do with the cloud. It should be, look what we can do with the cloud. We can bring you all these games so that you can play them. And you need a good internet connection, but you can play these older games.
If they were like, look, for like not residential, but for like rural areas or whatever, we have new servers and a new building set up called the cloud. That's gonna be way more stable. It might not be the best, but that's we're working towards. And I'm like, you know what? That makes sense. That makes sense. You want a stable connection, stable servers, stable internet. But the fact that they were just like, yo, I know we already told you the specs of this machine, but it can definitely run 4K 60 FPS video games with the power of an invisible thing that you can't actually see.
See, but here's the thing. They don't even say the cloud no more. They'll buy a company out and be like, massive supercomputer entertainment brings us the power to run our games at 4K 60 FPS.
And to be fair, people be like, "Well, this is a massive supercomputer." Like,
Yo, dog, like that
But
that
it's not
sounds
that-
lit as like.
yo,
All I'm saying is like, yo, devs out there, if I just say like, what would be a step up for a lot of gamers? 60 FPS, 1440p, 4K at 30 FPS. If you can do that, I
free.
think enough
Yeah.
people have not
And it-
really experienced it to be able to say like, yo, this is amazing.
And if you can run 4K 60 FPS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
If
stuff.
you can't, don't.
What I'm saying
If
though
you
is
can't,
that is where we're looking at. Like, I'm gonna be real. The PlayStation will be out there doing their thing. I'm looking to Naughty Dog. I'm looking towards Santa Monica, CD Projekt
Red.
Santa,
CD
like
Projekt Red,
these companies that are known to take like that hardware and push it, for them to come out and say like, hey, so this is what we can do with the hardware. Because what I will bet you, there will be 1 to 2 major releases, maybe 3 if Gran Turismo's in there for the PlayStation 5's release. Beyond that, there are not gonna be like, we're not gonna get a new Last of Us game and a new this and a new that, like one right after the other, because all these companies generally take time to learn the hardware.
Waiting for Witcher 3 PS5 port.
I don't look remake that game as many times as you want to.
Oh wait, I just realized. Fucking
Cyberpunk,
No. The samurai game that's coming out for PlayStation.
Tsukishima, Ghost of Tsushima,
Ghost of Tsushima. Oh, I really. Oh,
Ghost of Tsushima.
Tsukishima.
say it. Keep saying. I'm not saying it. I'm not putting y'all out of this. You really trying? Y'all were like,
I'm not. I just have to look. I just have to look it up. They fucking fuck.
No, that oh,
Tsushima.
I really
You're
hope-
right. Tsushima.
That could be a cool launch title, honestly. Like running on the specs.
I will make a bet with you, Alejandro, going what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that's delayed at this year's E3 is going to be
a launch.
either early 2020, and the biggest titles will be delayed until the end of the year.
I think there are rumors right now that they're gonna have Last of Us 2 like remastered port.
Yeah, they
and,
did that with Last of Us 1.
And that's Death Stranding, Horizon Zero, because there were again rumors.
Yup,
like,
Death
Horizon Zero
Stranding.
2, yep. And then Gran Turismo, I think 7 or whatever they're up to now. And
So that sounds like a strong enough lineup. You don't need
I
to
think
do
that
much
I
more
think
than that.
again we don't know if that. I mean, launch window is usually like 6 months, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's all be true because it's just rumors. But I feel like those are the ones that make sense. If it's already in development and it's not going to come out this year and it's going to come out next year, it'll probably be on the PlayStation 5.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see how this turns out. Honestly.
Can't wait
It's-
to inevitably have the demo game. That's nothing.
Gotta wait
Nah.
till Persona 6 comes out with
Look,
using the Persona 5 engines.
I just Sony give me another Rezo gun. Rezo gun carried me for like 6 months on the PS4.
Dog. Yo.
Rezo gun and Warframe carried me like 6 months on the PS4.
Give me a Sekiro port.
Yo,
please.
Warhawk lasted me so long on the PS.
Dog, it's there's some games that just make sure you have good games. Just do it Nintendo, dog. Nintendo bought a year until they could get Smash out and then dropped everything else. It works. I just need like 2 or 3 games.
They were like, yo, day one you can get Zelda. All right.
I'm not gonna ask you for nothing else. Like that's good enough, dog.
Word. All right, that's okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then not only did they make Zelda, they made like the biggest fucking Zelda ever. For you
Yeah.
just to run like, hey, like yo, you just have some fun, enjoy yourself. And like the
with
people,
like 3 DLC for it too.
and they're like, oh, and then like later that, okay, cool, here, like here, a year later, here's Smash, like
Yeah,
take
I
Smash.
guess.
And now everybody's like, but when we get
I think the
Sen-
hardest one is like the launch. Again, it's launch window. People think it's like the launch day, which is not fair. It's like the
Yeah.
launch
Mhm.
window. But I think the strongest one was the PS2 for like the 6 months because I don't know if it was like a year or whatever, but I feel like I saw it. It was like Devil May Cry, Metal Gear, like Ridge Racer. It was like Ace Combat. It was some stupid stuff. It was like, oh man, that's okay. I could be completely wrong about that, but yes, I don't begrudge any console for having necessarily a weak release because sometimes it's just things just don't work out, and I understand that. But yeah, you want a good launch because
you also can't predict what game is actually gonna pop and
Yeah.
which game isn't. Like,
yeah, like come on, man.
well, what was PS4? Killzone Shadowfall.
Yeah, Killzone.
People,
and
it was fun for a couple of weeks, few weeks.
Your obligatory like 2 to 3 sports games like NFL and FIFA.
Oh
We
yeah,
can look it up,
but
actually,
those
Yeah.
come out like every. Destiny was one of the big ones that came out like I think a
Yes.
little later. No,
Knack.
Destiny came out the year after.
Knack,
Di-
Battlefield 4, Call of Duty Ghost, like those were ported over.
Yep.
What is?
Yeah,
Was
because
it
it's
Witness?
2013. Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Warframe.
Well, like I said, Warframe and Resogun were two of the best games that first year.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then there's always like the ones where they save it until the holidays. Like the games I was talking about was apparently the holiday lineup, but
Yeah.
sorry, but yes.
Because it came out in November, and I think Killzone Shadowfall was November 15th. Killzone Shadowfall was like the big release game that came out with it, which was
Like, with
enough.
the-
It carried the PS4 until
Yeah.
for until the holiday season where you can get more, and then that's where PS4 became the indie station for because indies were carrying them for the early until mid
Mhm.
20, which wasn't a bad thing. They proved that
No.
good indie devs will always be able to sell well.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we had things like Knack
Also,
and The
can we-
Order.
Also, can I say launch
Order's not
games
bad,
are
but go ahead.
not necessarily as important as it used to be, especially since now it's just normal for games like the PlayStation Store and Xbox Store to be a thing, so people can just buy old games or play old games that they not ported over, but like you said, the code you had from the PS3 just transferring to the PS4 to the PS5. So it's like I have these old games I can just play in the meantime.
Mhm.
You know, it's still important, but it's like
yeah,
it's
that's
not a big deal. Like
You hit
know
on
what
it,
I
yeah. Like fuck the launch window. Just make sure you have backwards compatibility, and you can buy yourself fucking 6 months.
Basically.
Like
It's not that big of a deal, I feel like, anymore. I mean, yes, it's important to how it looks, but it's like, you know.
Yeah. But again, these companies still want the big splash launch.
I don't blame them.
They
It's
want
just,
splash. They want to just get in there.
I feel like that should be an interesting thing. I wonder if that'll be a playing up to it. Like, it'd be a real scummy thing, but it's like, hey, we kind of want newer people that might have dropped off the PlayStation 4, even though I don't think it is because it's like the biggest console right now. But people who dropped off from the PS4, we want them back for the PS5, and new people to be on PS5, and for a reason for them to get PlayStation Plus. And apparently there's rumors about like a PlayStation Ultimate, like the Xbox Ultimate, whatever, where it's like PlayStation streaming plus PlayStation Plus or whatever.
All right, I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm
Like-
fine. You gotta Sony.
Like,
No, you know what? I'm gonna be positive. I'm gonna be optimistic here. Sony, you set the bar with PlayStation Plus when you started giving away free games.
mhm.
Okay.
You
Which
set
they
a
reduced,
bar.
by the way. They did reduce it. Though,
Yeah,
to 2
you
games
set
instead of 6.
you set a bar. Do it again. If you think, look, Netflix just raised my price. If you really
know.
think I'm about to drop $15 on your fucking platform,
Yeah,
you
but
better be
that's what
fucking
I'm saying,
fired.
though. I think if they do the bring back the 6 for like the first year or two, like the 6 games a month.
Yeah.
And because that'll give people a reason to like buy not only old games but their service. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if they're exclusive like PlayStation Plus games that you can only
They always
get
do that.
digital. Yeah, that's what I mean. Though.
Rocket
Like,
League. That's why Rocket League blew the
Yeah.
way that it did.
But that's what I mean. Like for the launch window, I wouldn't be surprised to try to get people on PlayStation Plus.
I don't think that's a bad decision either.
I don't think so either.
I think like that first 6 months will be really telling of how the consoles are gonna go. I think there's a lot of talk of I don't think next generation we're gonna actually have a big disparity in the power of the consoles. I
don't
think
think so either.
Xbox and PlayStation are gonna be fairly well competitive, and Nintendo's just gonna be like, hey yo, look, we want you to walk around
I
with
mean,
us.
they're pretty close now, but as we know, we're human beings. At the end of the day, it's very much how you handle your PR and how you handle
Mhm.
everything, right? I mean,
That's why.
pretty much
Because the
Xbox
Xbox PR
was
literally
set up-
fucked over.
They literally
Yeah.
at their announcement was considered dead. Like, and PlayStation was just use that to further their thing. And that
Hey,
and
this
not
is how
even
you
close.
share games on
It-
PlayStation.
it's
Chaz.
yeah, that was
It was the same. It was the same for the other generation.
Yeah.
PlayStation PR was fucked, and that's why the
that was
360
terrible.
was able.
$600, guys.
But I think that neither company is going to do that. Now that's something we haven't gotten into, and I think that's kind of where we can bring the conversation to a close.
Mm-hmm.
Price point.
Which they did announce, I believe, or they had to speculate it. I think. It was at. I think.
What was the price of the PlayStation 4?
At release, $350.
$399?
Yeah, $399 because I had to pay for. I had to pick one of the two to buy at the time.
I
For
believe.
the specs that it's about to have, I'm gonna assume $499.
I think everybody's saying $499.
Yeah. Because the PS4 Pro is what, $499, whatever, around that price. and even then the specs are like.
I think they might be able to get around 400.
I think that's smart. I think the $499 is smarter only because I think they can lower the price of the PS4s a lot, like the Pros, and just get them off the shelves because people don't. Retailers don't want them anymore. You know.
Yeah.
I'll go 500 with a disc tray, 400 without.
Oh.
And I only think about that because the price of Ryzen.
I mean, they already confirmed that it's going to be a disc system.
I think he mean maybe just in later down the line.
I think they're gonna find ways to cut the price. I think PlayStation is not gonna drop. Nobody is going to drop. I think with a $499 price.
Especially since it's not coming out this year, which we're still not even halfway through this year. So
right.
A lot of time.
The pricing on Ryzen is what makes me look at this and be like, yo,
that's gonna be the expensive one.
Hitting 400 is fully possible on a Ryzen chip.
It is. But I think if they want to, I mean, they already said they're willing. I mean, a lot of companies do this. They said they're willing to take apparently
a loss
of about $100.
Oh yeah, then 100% they'll be willing to do 400 if they can take a loss.
Well, the thing is, all consoles. I think the PlayStation 3, even when it came out, it was selling at a loss. So it's like
most companies do. It's just the services, but it's like it's not that huge. Even for the Switch, I think it's like an $18 loss per. But it's $100 is a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot of loss. That's 10 times as much. Almost, not 10 times, but it's like 8 times as much. So it's that's a lot of. My math is fucking off. But anyway, the point is, it's. I wouldn't be surprised if it is $499 with them losing $100 profit. I wouldn't be surprised if what they have in the things speculation right now is worth $500, $600.
Yeah,
and they're willing to take $100 off because
this is not going to release at $399. I don't see it.
No, because they're kind of in a hard place because they dick themselves with PS3. They're like, okay, we can't sell a console for $600 again.
Yeah,
but we can't sell it for as cheap as $399.
If I'm being completely honest, if they do $499, as long as they have backwards compatibility, it won't matter. Backwards compatibility will make people be far more willing to trade in their console, save $200 and.
If they do that with PlayStation Plus exclusives or like the day one like download free stuff, I'm good. And again, it makes sense from a business standpoint. They can't make it $399. That's way too big of a loss for this spec. And they can't make it $600.
I think they will have a three. I feel like especially with the release of the all digital PlayStation
Lord,
Xbox. No, but I feel like they'll find a way to get a $399 version out there.
I feel like that's like 2 years down the line after the launch, right?
I don't necessarily know if I
don't believe it's gonna be. I don't believe a discless version is going to be a launch thing.
You think day one is gonna be a discless version?
No.
I personally think that,
especially not PlayStation, especially
I would
not,
love it, but
Japanese.
The only reason why they wouldn't do it because they would fear the PR. In all honesty, I would expect Microsoft to do it, and I think you will win bonus points if you do it.
For the price, yeah.
Only because if you can find a way to say like, hey, like, if you think this price is too high, here's an alternative that's cheaper.
With the exact same specs, just without the hard drive,
it will be. It would be insane.
I could see them in the future. I could see them. This is getting like into super not customization, but into like very little differences and stuff like that. I could see a version in the future where not this generation, maybe not even the next generation, but the one after that, where you have diskless, like not hard drive, but excluding disk readers, but in a place you have like a fan or something extra in there that's like, hey, this one performs better because it can be cooler for longer or it's safer. It's like like little differences, like get people to like buy different SKUs, but this charge the same amount as one that has a disk in it. And it's like, that'd be smart because then you don't have to change the shape.
Also, I don't know if you brought this up, 2 terabytes too, by the way, the PS5.
That makes sense. It has to. It has to.
Yep.
2 terabytes SSD, it has to.
And also, it's not even confirmed whether this is going to run a Blu-ray, because I think we're reaching literally the peak in terms of how much we can store on the Blu-ray disc.
Yeah.
That makes
so
sense.
It's like,
that's another reason to me that we go all digital. Like I don't think we evolve to another form of disc media at this point.
Oh wait, no. I think there is a new version of Blu-ray though. I think the modern version of Blu-ray is around 50 gigabytes.
They can do 8. They can do 8K.
That's still pushing it for games nowadays. The most games are like minimum.
Well, no, because the old version of Blu-ray was 25 gigabytes.
Yeah,
I think I'm getting that right.
Most games are around 30 gigs, even like normal. I'm not talking about like the smaller fighting game. I'm being like normal AAA games, like 30 gigs, I think usually. So, and that's like on the low end too. So,
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, I would love it if Strix said like there's a discless version
I man,
to
I
go
only
because that would make sense to me. But it's like I don't see it happening. I would love it though. I
I
would love
feel
it.
like feel I feel like whoever can pull that off the fastest wins. Cause, and I was reading some of
I
the
don't think.
comments.
I don't think wins is the word because I don't think.
I
It's
think
going to be
you eat up. I
You got a huge brownie points
because
though.
this
You got
is
a lot
this is
of
what I'll
brownie
say to you.
points.
Honestly, there was one other side to the argument, and
Mhm.
I'd looked through some of the comments earlier to see it, and I forgot about it, and I had to refresh. They might actually come in at 600
I can see that.
because only for one reason: we live in a world where these are $700 to $1,500 a
Yep.
year.
Yeah.
600 is not. It's still a lot of money. It's still a big number.
Mm.
But if you look at a point where these were $500, $600, $700, $800 a year, and Sony didn't want to really expand past that,
But the argument against that though is we need these. This is a communication device. Consoles are gaming devices.
I think
here's the thing.
no,
Here's the thing.
There's a big
I want.
difference in
Nah.
terms of how
here's-
much. It's a willing to spend thing. It's a willing to
See,
spend
but
thing.
that's
I
what
think
I'm
we're
saying.
more willing to spend more money on this than we are on.
And I'll make
on
you
a
the bet.
gaming system.
Gaming has become so mainstream. People are willing to spend that money on entertainment because, again, it's all about creating the culture. It's the Apple thing. Apple
agree.
has created a mentality and a culture around their products to where it becomes a need versus
agree.
just a how much
Okay.
I'm willing to spend.
But here's the argument, Strix. I agree, but here's the argument I'll make. The difference is why phones cost more is that when you pay for stuff on like Google Play, it doesn't go to Samsung. It goes to Google. When you buy stuff on PlayStation, it goes to Sony. So my argument is I think they can do cheaper price points because they can take a loss because the money you spend goes straight to them anyway. Buying games, buying subscriptions, buying whatever. Like you said, these machines cost a lot of money now. But I think they're willing to take it at a loss that's within reason and at a price that people go, this is even though $500 now versus 10 years ago isn't the same amount of money, they go, our services are growing. People are buying way more games now online rather than, which is better for them because they get all the money straight away versus having to do a middleman like GameStop.
So next, we had a conversation similar to this
Mhm.
last year or 2
Yes.
years ago when
It
we
always
talked
happens.
when we
It
talked
always
about
happens.
when we talked
Yeah.
about leasing consoles and how expensive do they become.
Always happens.
Are we at the point where one of them offers like, hey, if you buy directly from us, you don't go to a middleman, you can pay it off little by little.
I can see it. 100%. We're getting there.
I think, I mean, with the release of the all digital version, they're looking now to cut costs in such a way that people will buy it based on price alone.
I think you're right because what they could do is it's scumbag, but gas and electric does it. Hey, you didn't pay your bill on time. You can't play on your PlayStation this month until you play it. Seriously, but that's what happens with gas and electricity, right? You don't pay for it, no gas or electric. They just turn it off.
And
Yep.
people, and that is again comes down to where we get into the Alejandro us digital argument. Like it becomes a thing when you're paying $60 for a game, and then the company can say, "Hey, you can't play."
Well, this is different because you're leasing it from the company. Like,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense. You're going out of your way to lease. It's not like you own.
But then the
thing and,
question
like, you can't
becomes:
play.
then would you have to have an internet connection so they could always maintain that?
Yes,
Probably, yeah.
definitely.
Probably.
That's how that works.
Like,
Well, you know what they could do is they could just send you a bill or like a court order. Like it gets real nasty if it gets.
oh no, like 100%. Like as somebody that has worked in retail, I know how trash, fucked up, and aggressive and
it gets real
anti-consumer and predatorial leasing options really are.
They got your credit, debit card, PayPal.
They have they usually
profile,
when you lease something, you have to
address.
give your social security. Like this is where you start fucking up your credit.
credit. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You can't do that, but I think we're getting there. And again,
If people go to Blackjack was saying, if people go to the Microsoft store to buy an Xbox One, you can lease it already. Xbox One X. So I think it'll be an option.
It makes sense.
It's
I think it's getting to that point where companies are like, these things are costing us like $1,500 to make, but if we sell it at $400, $500, We still need to make up another 1,000. People buy 10 games in a year. That's pretty reasonable. That's $600, right? Okay, of course, that's not the profit that they make, but if it's all digital, it might be. Less and less money has to go to the retailer, to the people who make the discs. They might make a profit about $30 per game if they don't have to spend it to keep it on retail shelves. They can pay the owners of the game, like Square or whatever, like half and half.
And that's what the argument has always been about digital stuff. Is like, well, digital can be $10 cheaper because we don't have to physically print anything.
Yeah.
And it's all of a sudden like you start looking at like, okay, well, how do we move that money around? How do we keep that
shuffling
profit
around, right?
and
keep it going?
How
that's what I mean. I think that's why PlayStation, Xbox, a lot of these consoles, maybe excluding Nintendo, can be around the 400, 500, which without pushing 600, because they're like, you know what? Within a year, we have enough data now between the PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS4, and now with the PS5 and Xbox, whatever, that they're like, this is the average amount people spend in a year. So how many years will it take for us to make a profit? And,
and they know the games. They know the games. Yeah, like they're already. They can sit there and be like, "Yo, we got Ghost of Tsushima. We got Last of Us 2. We got the next infamous game. We got Horizon Zero Dawn 2.
This isn't including DLC for games that people are already. Hey, we found out that people who bought Kingdom Hearts 3, people who bought Kingdom Hearts 3 have an 80% rate of buying DLC. All right.
No, or if you want to, people that buy Kingdom Hearts 3 are more likely to buy Square Enix and Square Enix DLCs.
Right. But that's what I mean, though. It's if they have that data, they're like, okay, we have to secure Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy for PlayStation or Xbox exclusive, because we know we're gonna make easily $200 from Strix. Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
It's one of those things like ignoring this generation, right?
Yes.
Call of Duty, Destiny.
Yep.
There's always Activision always plays that line. Whoever wins out that initial sales bump
gets it.
Is going to get it at the next E3.
Yep.
Whatever their biggest title is, whatever is really popping. For those out there, there's still rumors, even though they split with it, that Bungie's working on Destiny 3.
Yes.
Possibly coming out in 2020.
It's theirs now. It's theirs now.
Yeah, but I'm saying possibly coming out in 2020. People are calling for days, whatever. If you want to make a splash, as much as people don't like Destiny 1, Destiny 2, you'll still turn a hell of a profit if you're the people that are willing to. And that's what I think we're getting to the point where, just like Marvel buying out Fox for their properties, we're getting to a information age where properties are where the money are. Fuck everything.
And I was just about to say, now that Bungie, which again it could be bought by again, but it's like now that it seems like because of how this money making scheme, I'll say, works, exclusive is going to be worth way more. Companies can demand way more, and at some point there's going to be like, it's not worth it for us to keep like letting Square like demand like $100 million for a game for us to have an exclusive, which I'm sure they probably could. Why don't we just buy, not Square, but like insert other company, like the people who have Destiny, like Bungie now. But like, let's just buy them out and get, because like Strix said, the IP is worth way more.
I mean, I think you see that now.
It's so obvious because it's like, look, if we can do stuff in house, that's great. But these guys we have to buy them out because otherwise the other person will get it, and because we know, yes, it might be $300 million to buy Bungie right now. But
what's that mean?
Our sales number says, and I hate saying this because it's a business talk, but it's like our sales number says literally with data, people are willing to use this much money for the game, DLC, and support, and we'll make it up in about 2 years.
And to anybody that would disagree,
and now we own Destiny. Now we own Destiny for free now.
And to anybody that would disagree with what Shaz just said, look at the PlayStation 4 this generation. Look at last E3, and since then, how many devs Microsoft has bought or given money to make games for the Xbox. Those two
contracts,
those two things are showing you immediately. Like, and they didn't start off making them make something exclusive. Oh. They're like, here's some money, just make a game, enjoy.
They just buttered them up.
Now, yo, give us that good shit. You can sell them you can sell them get them to see that you make 9 and 10 work so that when you drop our shit, hey, Strix, I know we gave you $200 million for your game last time, and
we're coming out with a new console, and kind of need some exclusive and launch days. This, I'm being serious,
And we're willing to pay you, blah blah blah.
Yep, and we're willing to support you. Just we did support you before, so I think we should get a little, little bit of extra support.
That's just all. All I'm saying is like,
that's how business works, though. You scratch my back, I scratch yours.
It's we're gonna be in a really interesting space because I think E3 2020. It's gonna be a swinging contest. Who got the bigger bat? Who's coming in with the bigger guns? Because I still make the point to people. Halo and Gears have not shown their fucking face again.
Nope. It's dangerous. They're getting ready, dog. They're scoring.
There will be a Forza game. That Forza game for the next Xbox is already running at 4K 60 FPS, pristine fucking goodness.
Smooth. Yep.
Like Microsoft is already, because Microsoft came out last year at E3 and said, "Yo, now we already working on the Xbox after this. Fuck the Xbox One X. If you want power, we got it. But understand, yo, PlayStation, we telling you right now, this ain't even our biggest gun. This ain't even it ain't even the real time to bring it all out."
Yep.
And this is now PlayStation sitting out here, 8K, backwards compatibility.
It's gonna be dangerous. I think it's dangerous because once people get exclusivity contracts and stuff like that, you're gonna see like who had the bigger, like not even balls, but just the smarts to dish out money up front, because in the long run, that'll help them way more. You gotta remember, these consoles last. I mean, PS3, Xbox 360 don't count. That was like almost 10 years. But like they last like 8 years now. Like that's still a long time.
If I'm being honest, PlayStation is already at a deficit.
Yes.
For one reason, one very simple reason.
I agree.
I'll buy every single Microsoft game because I can. Whether or not I buy that console, they could guarantee my 5 games a year.
We talked about this.
And that's to me where like Microsoft said like, all right, cool, we might lose this generation, but we're not just playing for this generation anymore.
Think that's why Microsoft, and I say Microsoft, not Xbox. I think Microsoft's gonna go harder because they're like, if we don't get exclusive for Xbox, that means we don't get it for PC. It depends. A lot of Japanese companies still don't like releasing on PC. It's a huge deal when like Kiwami and like Octopath came out for PC. People are like, what? It's like, this is, I mean, I'm being serious. This is a huge deal. Japanese companies are willing to do more PC stuff now, and it's a huge deal if it comes out on PC like Strix said. I'll buy the game for Microsoft, not for Xbox. I won't. Not this generation. It's like, you got to realize, if Microsoft gets it, it's for PC and Xbox, which is huge because that's still their platform, right? Even if PlayStation gets an exclusive, they still get it on their platform as Microsoft, but they can only invest so much into Xbox before they say, there's no point in investing in Xbox because people are going to buy it on PC anyway.
And that's the thing, because like if Microsoft loses Xbox, it's not going to be as much of a dent as Sony loses PlayStation. If Sony loses PlayStation, that is going to be a way bigger like.
That's what I'm saying. They always have the PC market in terms of like. It's at the very least, you have to have their operating system to play games on PC.
Linux and all these other things are getting bigger, but again,
it's like a 70% spread, dude.
Yeah.
Again, at the very least, even if you don't buy Microsoft Store, which most people don't, most people buy through Steam, you have to buy a Microsoft OS.
Yeah.
Whether you pirate that, whatever, is up to you. But most people don't. It comes with the PC, and when they build it, it comes with like the extra $100-$200 is the install and buying of the OS itself. So they still make money regardless. Yep. That's what I mean. It's dangerous for Xbox, but it's not dangerous for Microsoft. It's dangerous for Xbox. It's dangerous for Xbox because Microsoft can say you guys aren't making enough money because you don't have enough exclusives. Bye. But why?
But I think that's part of the play. If Xbox can make that money up via the PC market, then it won't matter. Like the Xbox brand can just stay there as long as they make it bring enough money in.
I think that's why I feel bad for the Xbox brand, because it has to consistently prove itself. Because Microsoft's like, we already got a money making thing. We got the best OS. We got pretty much, as far as most people are concerned, the only operating system for PC. Yeah. And we have our own store, not the best, but people still buy from it. And we have exclusives on it that people still buy from. And we make hella money. Xbox right now, you have to turn a profit because we're just throwing money at you. And you have to give something back because, again, business.
Like think of it like this. Every time you see a new PC being purchased with Windows installed on it, Microsoft is getting money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somehow, some way, they're getting something extra. Whatever way, it doesn't matter. They're getting it. So again, it's dangerous. Not for Microsoft. I want to reiterate this.
To all
but
the
for
students
Xbox.
out there, if you still use the Microsoft Office, like there's Microsoft has, again, it goes back to what Microsoft, Google, all these companies do in our lives. Like Apple has a big portion, but man, this is gonna be a fun thing because we have that on the PC side of things. We got the Epic, the Steam, the Ubisoft, the all these different stores. We're in a situation where I think the next 2 years are gonna be.
That's going to be interesting
insane.
for Microsoft because that's almost the complete opposite for Xbox, where it's like Microsoft's like, okay. I mean, it's weird because it's not like Microsoft ever had territory in terms of a game store on their own platform. But you're right. It's like
for Windows.
Can we straight up either make it better or just buy companies because we're Microsoft and we make like $250 billion a year.
Yeah,
and that's going to be a thing.
Like, what happens from when Microsoft just partners with Epic to say like, hey, we would like to do a partnership where your store and our store work together, where we help you server and feasibility side to just distribute these games, and now all of a sudden, the Epic game launcher is built into every PC that ships. Fortnite is built into every PC. Think about Candy Crush on every PC. Now you have Fortnite on every PC that ships.
Yeah.
Honestly, if that happens, like if Epic and, for example, if Epic and Microsoft join together to do something like that, and let's say they bring in like the Xbox games over to like the Epic store, those Xbox games are also going to start selling more.
Yes,
because it's going to be on a platform that more people would use when it comes to like purchasing video games.
And again, I keep saying it, trying to reiterate for Xbox and not Microsoft, because with Xbox, Xbox is the son and Microsoft's the dad. The Xbox for the first generation was, especially after 360 with the rings of death. It's like we lost a lot of money, but you had pop-up Microsoft give you however many $1 billion to make sure you came back. But at some point, Microsoft is going to say, it's been almost 20 years since we started this. You have to give us something back. You know what I mean? And especially with this generation, I know they had those talks because it wasn't a good look this generation. You don't just get beat 2-1, and not have a talk at some meeting. You know what I mean? So, and that's why I think or PlayStation in general needs to watch out, because I think they're gonna come like a hurricane. Like they're gonna be like, this is gonna be do or die sooner or later. At some point, they're gonna Microsoft and Xbox together is gonna be like, we're doing this. Like we're gonna just go super hard, and it's gonna be a really scary time actually. These like next 2 generations. Real talk. It's actually gonna be super scary if you read between the lines of like who gets what exclusive, what are the specs, who we getting. Like it's literally like draft day. Like
oh yeah,
literally
100%.
It's going to be you at recess and you have the 2 kids picking teams, but on like $1 billion level. And it's
and again, Sony's not going to be at E3 this year if they're ever coming back.
Right.
So that's basically Microsoft's platform to just
put your dick. You literally have to put your dick on the table. I'm not even joking when I say that. Like,
and I think they can do it. Like, I don't think they're at a point.
Impress. They have to make an impact to come back.
But all right, I'm cutting it there. I love it. This is a lot of fun.
Strix, I told you we talk about this for a long time, bro.
This is God.
We literally had upcoming releases for one of the things we care about the most. What were you expecting?
Yo, fuck anime. We talking about video games.
Yo, on God.
So.
Just wait for the Haikyuu episode.
True.
Nah, we're not even.
You almost got him shook right now, bro. He was like,
nah, we're not even doing it. John, you're saying that. I'm just gonna make the point, Alejandro. The next episode, when we have
Strix almost nutted on stream.
2 big things to talk about,
Yep.
You really think and that was ignoring the smaller news.
Yep.
But I want to send it on over to Alejandro. Let the people know where they can find you, what you got going on with yourself this week.
It's your boy, Snapback and pencil.
I can't see this.
Strix, you're the reason all this is happening. But it's your boy. Be sure to check out my Twitter and Instagram to see all my drawings and shit. That's all I do. I draw. Pay me. What's up, Ultraman?
That throw. Will he catch? Damn, my man had an unforced error. They lost the Super Bowl, World Series. Same thing. Don't worry about it. Okay, Shaz, what you got going on this week? What's up?
What's up, Tiga?
Nothing, because I'm trash human being. I don't stream, and I'm not on Twitter. So don't at me and don't ask me to stream, because I'm not doing shit. Okay.
But you just retweeted the tweet for the the stream tweet. You retweeted it.
Well, yeah, because I gotta still eat. I gotta absorb energy still. I need nourishment. You've never seen me eat before. I need nourishment.
If you want to leech on you, be sure to follow this man.
True. Thank you. I'm not streaming though, so don't at me. Thanks.
Thank you everybody for coming out to the show. We will not be having a show next week, and part of what I was alluding to is I am a little bit scared because that means that we will come back 2 Fridays from now, which will be, and we'll tweet about this, the 3rd of May, and we will have to talk about Mortal Kombat. We will have to talk about Avengers Endgame, which we are saying right now. Right now. There will be a spoiler section. Alejandro, I'll talk to you about drawing up something that we can put up on screen so people know when spoilers are going.
Spoilers.
But there will be a spoiler section for that. We're basically saying to you right now, you have until the 3rd before we talk about it. I love y'all.
Because Strix said I'm talking to him. He talked to you the way your mom talks to you. I'm telling you right now, you gotta take out the garbage. Now you got till Friday, but that's all you got.
No, like at this point, because there's one thing. I get it. You can't see it week 1. Tickets might be sold out.
But you got week 2, and I know there's no way the.
I'm not even telling you not to watch the show. Like just know that at a certain point I'm gonna be like, look, we have given our spoiler-free shit. This is spoiler territory. Until you see whatever is on the screen disappear, don't unmute. Don't unmute.
I mean, no, it's probably gonna be at the very end of the podcast either way.
Yeah.
So it's like,
but
you can still. But
the thing is, after this discussion, it makes me very worried between that because chat that's gonna turn into a MCU Phase 4 conversation.
Oh my
that's
God.
Gonna turn into Spider-Man because they moved up the release date of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, they moved up the release date of Spider-Man.
We gotta peep them stocks. You really
after how well Miss Marvel did or Captain Marvel did, Spider-Man Far From Home, I believe, was moved up in release date. I believe they removed the release date.
Yeah.
Up from that movie.
How about did Captain Marvel? Did it do really well?
It made Marvel money, dude.
Okay.
It made, and no pun, but it actually made.
No, you're right.
Spider-Man Far From Home gets an earlier release date. Looking for the new release date for it.
Okay, almost made $1 billion. Captain Marvel. All right, well,
July 2nd, so it's only 3 days.
Marvel money.
But they're bringing it forward. We also have in June X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Yep.
Let's look. It's the last time that Fox is gonna ever hopefully.
They get to do one. So.
I'm definitely not watching that school project. So I'm good.
Wow. God damn.
But yeah, we're just gonna end it there. We will see you all in 2 weeks. Thank you for coming out. I will try to get